Yeah.
Thank you, Courtney. You'll have to show me what you did. That wasn't on the list. Okay, I think we should start so we don't have to hold you any longer.
Don't worry, I'm here.
All night.
Get carried away.
Yeah, you might want to be here to listen.
So I can indicate that, so for those folks that I haven't worked with before, my name is Bill Kelly. I'm the town attorney. And various tasks in town, and one of them was to read your preliminary report. I understand there may be, you folks are finalizing something tonight perhaps, and whatever edits you've got, I don't know about, but I've got the one that just said February 2025 that didn't have a date on it or anything. So my task was to try to come up with a warrant article that mirrored as much as possible some of the language in the report. So this is a warrant article, as I captioned it at the top, per recommendation of MERCAC report. And I tried to use the language that is found in the report. Certain of the phrases here will look hopefully very familiar. So that was the first part. This mirrors section, option C2 largely, which I understand is your primary
I
recommendation.
thought it was C3.
I think it is.
Yeah, C3.
It may not have
C2.
been in the version you had.
My head.
We had three.
Right.
Okay, well, see, there you go. But that's fine. That's why it's here, is to have your edits when you are ready. So that was the first thing, was to try to mirror some of the language. And the second thing was to recognize that most, if not all, the funding likely be pursued by, you know, if we could.
Hey, Rick, we just barely started.
Wait till Tyler returns.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
I must have gotten a phone call. What, Rick?
Okay, no.
Give us a moment to read.
Yeah, and I'll just
Mhm.
reset.
Wouldn't that be terrible if we had a warrant that accidentally had the wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
That's the first thing I found. Yeah. All right.
Well, I only had C1 and C2. I didn't have a C.
Okay, well, fair
That's all
enough.
right. Totally.
It's a little chart you may not have had. They're not labeled 1, 2, and 3, but they're 3 options under C.
No, I have,
I'm actually confused why it's being referred to as C1, 2, and 3.
We have that
Mhm.
chart.
Talking about the
It's on page
scenarios?
17 now, but it may not. be.
So
well, I was
Um,
working off of,
why is it called C?
Yeah, I don't think we can, or I don't think we need to
Because I'm
even
thinking of
write
that chart.
option. 'cause
Well, when you
in-
look
in
at
the
the end,
report,
it
we
only
don't
shows
really-
the A, B, and C at the.
Right, I
That's
know,
what I-
there's no number on it, so you can just say C.
page 17.
But see, it's different from mine. Yeah, I think if it's just changed to C, option C.
Okay, because with, at least through the report that I was looking at, it was very specific about C1 and C2,
Okay,
the references. And then there was, of course, if I can find the page, the colored chart that went through all options.
Right.
From,
Like the A's and the B's and the C's?
yes.
So that was
Right.
FB's attempt at the cost
Right,
section,
but
but
that
it's
way-
really complicated.
change
so we
that.
Simplified it. Yeah.
so there's a new chart.
Yeah, so.
So
this is-
right,
This is what I had.
right.
So that's ancient news, apparently.
That's no longer in the document.
But
No
it's
longer in
no
the
longer-
document.
Yeah.
Well, at any rate,
It's a map of our thought process.
Five.
I'll leave now. And
No, it's fine.
No, I
It's ever changing, so.
Oh, that's okay. I think the guts of the concept is really a 3-part concept here in terms of the way this was written. Maybe what I should do, since it's quite short, do you want, since there are folks listening, I could just read through this and sort of
Sure. yeah,
explain
sure.
it?
Mhm.
That's a good idea.
So the first part's pretty boilerplate. Shall the town vote to authorize the select board and the town manager to fully remove the Montgomery Dam and Spillway, tax map 120, lot 283, to return it to, and here's language that is directly out of your document, at least the one I had, return it to a free-flowing river system that aligns the cascade to its original underlying ledge channel. That language is hopefully I've captured the way that it's been described in a couple key places.
Very familiar.
Okay. And comma, to facilitate fish passage with adaptation to the Harbor Park seawall and implement resilience measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor in a manner generally consistent with option C, whatever we're going to call it,
Mhm.
of the findings and recommendations of the MARCAC committee. And also, and so that's part one, describing what is the nature of what you're going to, the voters understand they are approving. And as you'll see down below, the reference, of course, is going to be to your entire report for people to really fill in the blanks and dig deeper into what this warrant article means. We don't want a warrant article that's 20 pages long. We want it to be fairly concise and understandable. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is recognizing that and also authorize application to obtain grants to fund the actions described herein. So that, as I understand it, will be a primary driver in terms of how this is funded, through funding through various grants. And that's great because that is not a cost to the town. It's just making clear that there's authorization to go and apply for those grants to pay for what's described above and what's recommended in your report. And then the third part of this is subject to voter approval of any town share of total cost, which shall be referenced by an individual line item appropriation proposed in the annual budget. So the point is that should there be matching funds in any of these grants that might be awarded to the town, there has to be approval of the appropriation of that money in the budget to proceed. So this is not a warrant article that says go get funds and we'll sort of a blank check without saying what the town's share might be in the future. So seeming that the voters would want to know and vote on any town share in the event that there is a town share. That's how I have used this language to say it's subject essentially to the town approving that as a budget item.
But would it be,
Do we,
a separate item to be voted on just itself, or so the budget which goes up or down?
Right.
Got it. Okay.
What I'm saying is in terms of the way I've drafted it, it has to be in a separate individual line item in the budget, so you know exactly what it is.
That makes
Right.
sense.
Okay.
okay, what you're saying basically is that the voters will vote either yes or no on this, and their only chance to say, I don't like the cost of this to the taxpayers, the only way is to basically say no on the entire budget.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that's
Which-
what I asked.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
And that's, I'm not here to,
Right.
see if you guys do or don't. I'm just giving you a draft, trying to address the issues.
Yeah. And-
And trying to depoliticize it a bit if they're actually going to be supportive of this.
The issue is that the only way that voters can say, if it's like a school budget item, all right? And say, okay, the only chance you have to vote down this additional cost or whatever is to reject the entire budget.
Right.
And also, I'm wondering, why isn't there a dollar figure in this appropriate resolution or whatever as to what the cost, which has been estimated by interfluenary, why isn't that in here as to what the total cost of the project's going to be?
It
I'm
does
glad
say
you-
down below, brief explanation of the range of costs for the option that will be added here.
I was gonna say, I'm
Right.
glad you asked that question. It's what
Okay.
I get to
Yep.
next.
All right, fine.
Yeah, and I think that's for you guys to think about in terms of how, on Ray's point about whether or not the voter approval of the town share, if there is a share,
Mhm.
should be a separate referendum, so to speak, on this or not.
So that's a possibility.
Well, you guys are going to recommend a warrant article, I suspect, or at least see what you think about it, and the select board will then make the final decision. But that's for others to debate. Mine is to just try to capture ultimately what the select board decides to do, since they are the gatekeepers of warrant articles.
Can I ask a clarifying question? This part that says, and also authorize applications to obtain grants. Do they need voter authorization to seek out grants? Because
Yeah.
I wasn't under the impression that they did.
I think they do.
They may not, but they may, it may be, depending on the particular grant, that sometimes they do require legislative acts.
I guess my hitch on that a little bit is that it would maybe give the perception that the voters are then owed the ability to weigh in on everything that they're applying for. So that makes me a
Oh, you
little
mean
bit.
every grant?
Yeah, because of the way it's
Yeah.
written to me sounds like the townspeople might be able to have a hand in authorizing absolutely every application going through for grants, which I think
Hmm.
isn't what we,
Well, a grant, remember
Slippery
that,
slope is what you're saying.
right,
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
yeah, a grant is the beginning of something.
right.
And then there's maintenance costs with whatever you're getting the grant for. So it's not unusual to make sure the voters are on board with accepting the grant, but in these days, the application is sort of the acceptance part all rolled into one. You wait to have a decision. So I get your point and I'm happy to take it out, but
I'm not saying, I'm not suggesting taking it out. It's just the language of it sounds a little confusing to me. I mean, I think really what you're looking for their authorization on is using the funds should you get them rather than applying for any funds. If that's,
Yeah, I'm struggling to understand where the door is that you see opening could be problematic. In other words, to apply for grants, because it's certainly come up in the past, people question who gave the select board the
Mhm.
authority to apply for certain grants. And I don't understand. I was trying to imagine a circumstance where somebody would read that and see an opening.
so
By
my,
saying, I want to know every single grant.
I think it's not the majority by any means, but I think, say this got voted down, are they also voting down authorization of,
That is
Yeah.
my concern.
yeah, that's where
That's my concern.
I'm a little tangled in that wording because I don't want it to get into a bind where
Yeah.
now the town is committed to never pursuing anything that would help the watershed.
Right. No, and that was going to be my question. I wasn't worried that they would have to question, they'd have to know every single grant.
No, I think that's sort of the extreme of the
Yeah, right.
opposite, but I was just for clarifying, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because
that's just
Bill-
the second
Bill-
issue, Bill. What's your thinking about that? That it jeopardizes the select board's ability to apply for grants, even if this is turned down.
I don't see that. I'm trying to, in a way, almost depoliticize this by making things clear.
Right.
Right.
But,
Which I appreciate.
Absolutely.
Bill,
It's a tricky thing.
sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead, Ray.
Okay, I'm looking at the town report from this past year with the election and everything like that. Article 14 states, and this is boilerplate, shall the town vote to authorize the select board and treasurer on behalf of the town to apply for and accept grants, gifts, real estate and other funds, including trust funds, et cetera, et cetera. I mean,
Okay, so this is
so
language
that's
that
already in
people
there.
have
So
already seen.
that's
Okay.
already in there. So why would we have this language in this one article and not included in other articles?
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's already been.
It's already there,
It's
sort of
already- and
broad
it's-
brush.
It goes in every year, right?
I'm happy to take it out.
I think it's gonna be confusing.
All right.
Not
Well,
here.
it's good,
Quick question.
good feedback.
Just because I think this will finish it up. If that sentence is not, or that phrase is not in there and the warrant article passes, you don't see that there's any limitation on the select board to authorize grant applications.
Not if there's another enabling statute. True. This is such a unique project.
Right.
What else has
Just
the town
double
spent
coverage.
2.5 years and a committee to get to
Mhm.
this point on? It's just,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too belt and suspenderish here because I was sort of doubling up the fact that there's the phrase is a two-part, of course, is first is go ahead and
Mhm.
authorize application for the grants. And the second is, and by the way, if there's a town share, be comforted that that has to go and be a line item through the budget committee, through the normal process, like everything else does. So I was thinking about it in that tandem sort of. way.
Yeah, and I actually, for the most part, like the concept being in there because I do think it's helpful to say, I mean, this is saying pretty clearly, hey, there's grants available for this.
That's what I'm thinking.
And if money comes from you, we're gonna have to talk about it. So I do like it in there.
That's-
I just, the way the beginning of it was worded was a little confusing to me, but maybe if it's sort of boilerplate, then maybe that's just a
I would be
personal.
very careful about it's not making sense to us. It's not gonna make sense to a lot of
Right.
people and they'll just reject it because they won't understand, like, as it's written. I think I'm struggling to understand it and to.
Just that
I'm
one part after
wondering,
the
does it
semicolon?
have to be one sentence? Can we have like a couple can we break it up or how to, I don't know if
Yeah,
language
warrant
has to be like
article,
one.
you can, it's in, a warrant article is supposed to be sort of a single topic and you
Okay.
try to make it as uncomplicated as possible. I'm not sure authorized application to obtain grants, would confuse people.
I think to me, it's just the word authorize.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be nit.
No, that's why we're here, because, one person's eyes is really not a great way to do this. This is,
Mhm.
this is a good process.
So this is the town voting to authorize them.
Yeah.
To
Well,
apply for grants.
To clarify that in this case, in this article, that for this purpose, they know this is happening.
But they've already,
We've
if what
already
Ray's saying
done-
is they've already agreed to the fact that the town is authorized to
Seek
pursue
grants.
grants.
Right.
Is there any
Is
limitation?
there
on that
anything in
language?
this, like if they voted this down, would that somehow negate that somehow?
Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that you have to be careful about, if you're the select board that received that authorization, is obtaining a grant that has a lot of cost after you get it.
Mm.
Because that's not a good way to function, because if there's high maintenance cost, you have to be careful. And one of the factors, one of the things I know that you have in your report is talking about some of the costs to maintain this in some distant future. One references to 50 years, at least in the report I have. So that's in your report. There is if one reads the report, which we're referring people to, they can sort of see the soup to nuts thing, and that this is a fairly large grant with costs that follow it. So clarifying that you want to give authorization was my thought process. If you folks think it's confusing to have that, we could take that section out and just leave it, take the and authorize applications to obtain grants to fund the actions described above, take that out and just leave the subject to voter approval.
Yeah.
If you all feel better about that. The fact that we're discussing it now, it's of record, would explain how we get to the finished product, so that's good. So
But
that,
I also think it's important that somewhere it shows that they're going to look for grants that will help to pay for it.
Mhm.
I mean,
Just
they're
the
likely, I
informational.
mean, this, if I knew nothing about this at all and I were
Right.
going to vote.
Mhm.
Then to me, oh, hey, this might not be out of my pocket, might be the only piece of
Positive.
important information to me.
Right.
So, I mean, there's definitely times when I go to vote and there are warrants that I don't know what we're talking about, and that's.
Right.
He authorizes all of them, so that's how I get this.
on your point, if we take it out there, I certainly could add a comment down below. The note, of course, is not what people are voting on. The note's in
Right.
italics, it's a separate explanation. That could have what you just referenced, that could say that it is expected that, most, if not all, of the costs will be covered by, grants that the, select board and town manager will seek to obtain.
Okay.
We could just put it in there, just to explain, so it's
Right.
clear.
Yeah.
If we take
That
it
might
out
be a
above.
good-
I just think it's important that people realize that they have and they've put in an application already for
Mhm.
some grant funding. That there are possible grants that will fund this.
Well, particularly since it's a key point in that recommendation that this is the option that is the best economically for the town. I mean, we say that
Right.
in a number of places because of the grants, because we mentioned grants. So it would be sort of worse than dissembling not to put that down there, I think.
Okay.
One option would be to just say that this will be offset by non-taxpayer money.
Will be, definitely,
Could
could be.
Well, but offset doesn't
It's a
say,
thought. I'm just putting out
yeah,
there.
but the other two
Because
we looked
then
at.
people would say, you know, okay, if it's gonna be paid for by grants, then yes.
But those, the two that we looked at, from other towns, wasn't there, there was a statement in each one that said that no taxpayer money would be used to fund this project.
I think that's key. I think that's really.
Well, so that's, I mean, that's a much stronger,
Yeah,
Do you know that?
But
Does
we don't
anybody-
know that. Yeah, that's,
Okay.
Don't know that, no.
I mean,
But that's.
but highly likely,
That's
that's
what
what they
they-
want to make a promise you can't keep.
Yeah.
yeah, but
but didn't one of them at least say that?
The Dover Foxcroft one definitely did.
Definitely.
Well, where did they have more assurance? Because I feel like if we
We've
did that, that's
gotten-
not.
No, I'm
I
not
mean, we've
suggesting
heard
that we
we've
do
gotten
that.
Assurances.
No, I'm not suggesting that we do that. I'm just, it's,
Okay.
I think
it's important to word it so that people know.
that doesn't exempt in kind and other ways the town can pay for it.
No, it's
It
not.
just is taxpayer money.
Well, why do we need anything after the semicolon?
Which
I mean, I think
semicolon?
We're
it's-
not authorizing, we're not asking people to vote on an authorization. I mean, like a cash authorization. in June.
I mean, I think it's important to
So,
say that they.
There's the Dover Foxcroft, that second to the last. It talks about the funding. Their language.
Yeah, I'm nervous to talk about
Like
costs.
the
the tax-
second or third paragraph
taxpayer
down.
At all.
That's
we-
my point.
Yeah,
Is that
like
why are
it's
we
so-
talking money at all, in the
In the-
vote itself,
exactly,
especially when
exactly.
there's nothing that's substantive in there. It's
Yeah.
just sort of, oh, by the way, if you're wondering about whether money,
Yeah.
So
But
when
it-
would that vote
no.
happen?
At a later date. I mean, that's,
You don't think-
that's actually what's described in this, in that, the subject to point is that it'll be,
Is that-
if there is an
That's helpful now.
appropriation that's
I
needed.
didn't think that was
It'll
the
come out
plan.
of the line item in the budget.
Right,
And then
that's
we
that
vote on
last
that?
part on that first
Right, my
paragraph,
point
correct?
is, we don't need to say that, we don't need to ask people to vote on that, cause just like there would be a separate.
You don't think
uh,
that's. oh,
Hmm?
sorry, go ahead.
I don't think it's needed in this.
You don't
language.
think it would be calming to some people to know that this isn't the end of it, that there is still an opportunity to weigh in on the cost portion down the road?
I think all that stuff could be put
Go-
in the.
goes in the notes.
explanatory note
Okay,
below.
yeah, no, I mean, as long as,
I like
People
you
read
guys.
it.
You're getting it.
People read it,
Bringing
yeah,
this
watch
thing
out.
down.
So Rick.
Getting it really punchy.
Period
Great job.
In that first paragraph,
Where there's presently a semicolon.
After
So-
committee.
after committee.
So the period would be at committee.
Yep.
And then down below, we'd reference, the plan is, yes, please, we'll try to get the funds for everything. But be aware that if there's a town share, it will come back and be referenced in a separate line item in the budget. So you
Yeah.
guys basically move
I-
that down
yeah,
below.
I think that
I'll
sounds
tell you,
great.
That's good,
Yeah.
that's
I'll tell
better.
you,
I think.
one thing that I would like to add to it, because we do have the number, at least, the estimated numbers, the projected cost of this removal of the dam is X millions of dollars then put in where funds could be offset, or the cost could be offset either totally or partially by grants. The people
So you're
should
saying
know how
take
much it's gonna
something out
cost.
of the report and put it on the.
Put it in
warrant.
there.
well,
yeah.
if you have well, I mean, you could have, your brief explanation of the range of costs. And then that caveat on finances could follow that.
Yeah, couldn't it go in that second paragraph?
I'm talking about in the note. That's
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
was mentioning. Yeah, in the note. Put it in the note.
Exactly.
Projected cost of it.
But he's got a spot right there for it, the all
Yeah.
caps.
Yeah,
Don't
Yes.
have that information.
He
yet.
doesn't have the
Right.
numbers.
right.
You
Yeah.
didn't just want to make something.
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Ask
Yeah.
the question
Not
is,
after all
But
this.
the projected cost,
I think you could put. the
X
cost-
dollars,
rate.
X dollars. Offset, because I think this, I think the citizens of Camden should know what this is gonna cost and what their potential taxpayer costs could be. Okay? Because there's no guarantee on getting grants with what's going on in Washington right now.
Well, would there then be a
It's
no?
already
vote means-
appropriated though.
What?
I'm talking at the same time.
Yeah, but so is.
It's already
some-
appropriated for
but
2000.
Some other money has also been attempted to be frozen that was already appropriated.
Yeah. Right.
I think it's
That's
fair
what
to
the
be
fight is
dubious.
about.
I think, yeah,
So any
Take 'em to court.
discussion about prospective costs
right. In
must
the note.
include an identification, basically that there is no zero cost option, that every one of the possibilities.
Right, that's what I-
There's no such-
Yes.
there's no such thing as free
Costs
lunch.
millions,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's what I'm asking is, would that then mean? There's some wording that a no vote means that there's X amount of dollars going into keeping it.
I think that's key.
I think that's the Dover Foxcroft had that.
We have.
And their
to-
expert-
Yeah.
Okay,
And their explanation notes, I think they had a yes vote means this, and a no vote means this, and
Yeah.
have some kind of.
Yeah,
Cost
which
associated.
is stuff that you prepared, really.
Yes, you may.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alfie, you go.
I am not good at legalese and this kind of thing, so I just need help understanding. So if we have, if we stop at the word committee, isn't it isn't it tantamount to just saying, vote on this, you like it or you don't like it? Oh, but by the way, we'll vote on the costs later. So it's not, do you see what I mean? Is it pushing it down the road in terms of we're
Yes.
definitely doing it? Because the money has to be decided.
I'm
Well,
feeling the same way about it. It's pushing it down the road for sure.
No, but if the only vote, the only money that would be voted is town money. In other words, we're not asking them, because we're taking the thing out about approving applications for.
If they were to find grants to do the whole project,
It wouldn't
then
require
it would
any.
not show up
That wouldn't be a
in the
vote.
town budget.
Oh, there
It
you
would
go.
not-
Yeah.
That helps me.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's saying if we find all the grant money, this vote will be carried out.
Mhm.
And if we need a little bit of more money, we're gonna come back to you.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Okay, all right.
But it does create an opportunity for there to be a lot more pushback during the budget process.
Right.
It could be,
Yeah.
quite intense. So,
There's likely to be a lot anyway.
Budget committee anyway.
yeah, we didn't go pay attention.
I'm not-
I've done it.
Yeah, we've all
I've
got
done it
tons of free
before.
time.
Yeah, I'm not a big
So
fan
we
of
avoid
an explanation that says a yes vote means this and a no vote means that.
Right, yeah, yeah.
For a variety
Yeah.
of reasons. We want the language to be clear enough. And if it's not clear enough, we'll work on the language.
Mhm.
But I don't think we should be interpreting it down below so that some folks don't really need to read the article.
Right.
I understand other towns do that, but I'm not really excited about that.
Yeah.
I think people should read it, yes or no, and we ought to make it
Mhm.
clear enough.
Right.
I mean,
Otherwise, it's a distillation.
I mean,
Yeah, it's another interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, this up front, the.
Further away
If you,
from
if you
actual-
took, if you end, excuse me, if you end this at where we talked about a period after committee in there, it's basically a yes, no vote on keeping Montgomery Dam or
No.
removing Montgomery
Yeah.
Dam. That's it, which I think is what a lot of people are sort of expecting. That would be it, yes or no. And then the explanation of, okay, if you vote no on this, or if you vote yes on it, rather, the whole part about here about applying for grants or whatever is in there.
Well, no, the note isn't part of the warrant,
It is
right?
not, and that's one of the things I just want to revisit for a second.
Right.
If we put the period after committee,
That's the warrant.
that's it.
Yeah, right.
So,
So
but the note,
part
the note
about-
won't be underneath.
Yes, it is. That note's in here.
Let him finish.
the warrant is the warrant.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Mhm.
Does not have a limitation that says, and by the way, if we have to come back to the voters for money, we're going to do that.
No,
If you put it in the note, it's an intent.
Right.
But it's not.
Yeah.
What they're voting on.
Right.
But then the note can be printed along with the warrant.
The
Oh, yeah.
note will be printed, but it does not control.
No,
Right,
right.
yeah.
understood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Take that,
Yeah.
that limitation out of the warrant.
Yeah.
And there's no requirement to come back to the voters for more money. Because when you adopt a warrant article as a town, you have, I mean, it would have to go through the budget process anyway, but it wouldn't have to be a separate line item.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way it will be in the budget at some point
Mhm.
as an appropriation, so that will be known. Maybe the only thing we're losing here is that it would be a separate line item,
Right.
Which could still take place.
which still could take place.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
plain
Why
devil's
would it-
advocate
why
to
would
take
it
that out.
not be a separate line item?
I don't know, because sometimes CapEx is a bunch of things
Yeah.
plugged
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. But it would be a line item in a budget, no matter whether the voters decide yes or no on this, because there would be an expenditure by the town.
It'll be there somewhere.
It'll be there, yeah, it'll be in. the
And
budget, but
sometimes
say
it may
that-
depend on the magnitude of it
Right,
as well.
yeah.
Because if it's a small amount that's a matching thing, then it may roll up into different administrative stuff.
Hey, I've been on the budget committee for 2 years and we get down to $3,000, $5,000 things.
Right. So, and just to clarify about the other portion of this.
Mhm.
Approaching it from the school board experience, but does the select board, in its agenda, anytime that there's a gift or a grant money that's been awarded, don't they have to formally vote to accept it?
Yes.
So that's gonna happen
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's my whole point about, I think it's a superfluous,
Yeah.
you know,
okay.
thing there.
Bill, are
I
you
see your
saying
point though too, Bill, that if people read it and they aren't aware of that, right?
Mhm.
They aren't aware of how the budget works and
Mhm.
a lot of people probably don't understand that process, right? They might be hesitant unless it's written.
I think if it's in the notes, that's gonna be fine, but
Yeah.
but Bill, are you seeing a negative in removing that part? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I was just trying to, I was thinking it through out loud, so sorry about
Yeah,
that.
no,
but-
fair enough. I just didn't know where you were landing on it.
Well, I was saying that it wouldn't be mandatory that it be identified as an individual line item, but as I was saying this, I was thinking, but it's still gonna be in the budget. So it's still gonna be
Right.
a number that people have to accept
Right,
and goes through the committee and all that.
and be talked about.
Right, so maybe I'm,
Well, the other thing, to maybe allay some of Courtney's concerns about what the public knows and doesn't know. Between when this recommendation is presented to the select board and they do something with it, there are several months before the actual vote.
Mhm.
And I am quite sure that there will be activities and questions asked and answers provided where this additional information could come out. In
Oh,
other
yeah.
words, there's not going to be a dead silence
Right.
from
no,
the
of course not.
18th of February
Mhm.
until the date in June. There's lots of opportunity to share additional information, clarification,
Mhm.
that sort of thing.
Sure.
I think that's important to keep in mind.
Right.
This being
Um,
Camden.
Those are,
What did you
Uh,
say?
This being Camden.
Right.
Right.
right. I mean, those are.
I agree, and I think we also should be writing for the person who's never heard a word about this.
I think
It's
if you have that part
both,
out
you
and
know.
that's in the note, I think that's gonna be fine. I don't think anybody is gonna suddenly learn everything they need to learn about voting in one warrant article. Either they did or they didn't. I mean, it's,
Well, and the note at
don't
least
think this is-
refers people to all the
yeah,
information.
the note has the clarifying information. I read the notes all the time. I would imagine
I do.
most people do.
Hmm.
And certainly in June. I mean, we're
yes.
talking about a June voter, which is a
Right.
different voter than a
Right.
November
Mhm.
presidential year
Yep.
voter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bill, I was looking to maybe cut out some more stuff.
Yeah.
Like this.
Simplify.
My first note is, I think we should probably include lot 278 as well on that. Cause the dam and spillway, I think, are probably fully on lot 283. But I think as you do revisions, I think lot 278 also gets modified.
What does that cover?
Is that,
What
is
is
that like?
that?
You're going next level here. What are we doing here?
Nice.
Where, whose
I
property?
think, I think 283 and 278 like is the end, it's like literally the wall of the spillway.
okay.
So I think you're gonna probably, if you go into what we would call Harbor Park at all right now with any sort of, which I think the plans have all shown, that it would be into, it's hard, because the topic of removing Montgomery Dam and the spillway all happens within 283.
Yeah.
But I think when you talk about returning it to a free-flowing river
Yeah.
system, that also impacts the 278.
So would you like, I,
But I
I
don't
was being particular about the dam and the spillway being on that. Did you want to talk, perhaps say, return the free flowing? No, never mind.
I don't know how to do it
I
gracefully.
think that right now, the way it's written, it's a qualifier for where exactly the dam and spillway are.
Right,
Yes.
Not a qualifier for where
Mm.
things are gonna go.
right.
Not for the full project.
Well,
Right.
and it's a reference point only. I mean, all
Yeah.
your,
Right.
unless there's any ambiguity to what
Well, I-
Montgomery Dam and spillway mean.
I think the nice thing is I would imagine since it does reference option C2 or C whatever, that would, I think, dictate kind of where some things already stand on that.
But when you have your final report, this is exactly what this is intended to do, is to force people to go read the report.
Mhm.
Because you gotta, this is a big deal and there's a
Right.
lot more in the report. We're trying to make a functional warrant article without multiple pages, because that's confusing to voters and it's. You try to get as succinct a clear a statement as possible, which was what I was working on, but.
I'm trying to, so the other part, so I'm trying to cross off, Bill.
What else you crossing
I'm
out?
trying to cross off where after system, I want to cross off that aligns to the cascade to its original underlying ledge channel.
I agree.
So I'd like it to read, let's see.
This is your language, you know.
Yep.
Aligns to the original underlying.
I know, but I'm just trying to clean it up for,
No, but so why would you take that out?
because I
And
don't think it adds value to, I think it's,
I thought it
It
did.
does, though.
I think it's
Does.
important to a lot of people to know where the.
It's
channel
not gonna
is
just be
going
going
to
over
be.
where it is currently.
Yeah.
It's being,
Because it's not just about facilitating fish passage.
I guess I was gonna, I'll read to you what I was trying to go for. And you can tell me no.
sounds good.
To remove the Montgomery Dam and spillway, to return it to a free-flowing river system that facilitates fish passage and implements resilience measures that manage floodwaters and sea level rise, period. In addition, and then have a second part that more addresses the Harbor Park seawall.
So what does that do in your head, Tyler?
It just, I'm just trying to make it shorter.
Does it confuse voters though?
Why does everybody think aligning the cascade to the original underlying ledge channel is so important?
Yeah.
And what if you open up the original ledge channel and
Find that you can't do
find that you
that.
can't align to
You-
it?
To
We've
the
had this
original
discussion.
one. That was
Yep.
my concern.
Ah.
Can you align to the original?
Well, it's not gonna be perfect either. It's not gonna be absolutely the original, you know.
Yes.
Exactly. So.
I mean, our
you
intent
need
was really to
original.
make it a free-flowing
aligns
river
with it.
system as opposed to necessarily aligning it to the original, right?
Yeah.
Well, right, but aligning it to the original is.
It is painful.
It's all been so painful, all this.
Oh, yeah, all the group editing.
My brain is
That
like
real
fried.
I don't think any of us will ever do that again.
I showed up for the first one of those meetings saying I wasn't gonna do everything.
Then you took a new job and disappeared, right?
So
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
But you don't
But-
mind it.
I don't mind, well, I mean, returning it to a free flowing river.
How about
is
intended,
is
intended
probably
to
going
align?
To go where the natural channel was, because there's a reason that that was the natural channel.
You know what?
Intended to
I think it
align.
sounds like we're guaranteeing that it's gonna align the cascade to its original.
No, but if you say
Yeah.
intended
You
to,
could say that generally
Oh.
aligns.
Nature like?
Yes.
I actually found the language.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Original underlying ledge channel to be quite helpful. I thought.
Okay,
Yeah.
As I read through that and I thought, oh, well, that's what.
that's
they
what the
mean.
intent is.
Yeah.
Okay,
From the outside, I'll just.
Sure.
I thought that was quite helpful as a
Okay.
descriptor.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Keep
don't
it-
know if.
so could you just,
Generally.
does it make sense to
think it's-
restate it with intended to?
I would rather have
Or the
general.
gen-
Yeah, Jennifer,
General.
it's fine.
Yeah,
with that.
vote to
You're gonna shoot
intend.
for it,
Got it.
generally.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, right now I get confused about, like when I read this, I can't quite, I think we're also authorizing them to do work for the whole Harbor Park seawall,
See, that-
Yes.
That's,
but I can't tell.
This is your language.
I know.
I took exactly.
We don't know
Well,
what we said.
Implement, so just let's talk about.
Let's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And implement resilience measures to manage floodwaters. I added sea level rise. And I added at the head of the harbor, so we know what we're talking about. And then in your document, it says specifically, at least the one I have, page 13 says, this does not include the seawall repair. This is about the resilience measures, is the way your
Yeah.
report reads, separate from actually replacing the wall.
Well, and this to me says, with adaptation to the Harbor Park seawall, it's just saying, to me, that says removing the dam is going to require
Adaptation.
adaptation to the wall. You're uncoupling it from the wall, there has to be a change. That doesn't to me say,
Hmm.
we're gonna do,
And it doesn't say what that adaptation is.
right, it's just
which
saying that there
I
will be a
like.
change
Yeah,
there.
it just says it's gonna have to
Right.
change.
but,
Right,
and part of the cost estimate we have involves that or includes
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a $244,000 figure.
Whatever.
Right.
Yeah, we can't get too,
So if I'm the
Wow.
so if I'm on,
You're not gonna talk
if I'm
about
on the
actual-
library board and I'm reading,
Granite
this,
blocks.
bigger.
if I'm on the library board and I'm reading this, I don't know if I can tell if my seawall is getting repaired where it's falling down or not.
We could add that in the note to say, if you wish, what your language is, I can tell you what your language says, because it's what this is based on.
I don't know whether that's changed in the newest document. You want to look through this one, Bill?
I won't know where to find it.
What's it? It's under what section?
hang on,
What's the header?
cost considerations. So this is what I have, interfluve estimated and recommended, and the recommended option, full dam removal, C1 would be 1.2 million with an added $224,000 seawall and park resilience measures. That the 224 is for the seawall and park resilience measures. So that language is what I had used in terms of seawall and implement resilience measures. So, and then I explained it to manage floodwaters and sea level rise.
Right, I still don't see I think the word adaptation leaves you plenty of options.
I'm confused as to why we say facilitate fish passage with adaptation to the harbor park seawall, comma, and implement, and then we talk about, there's like, that's
It
kind
does,
of the
it
same
does feel
thing.
like it
And
feels a
so
little out of
Can we
order, but
take out the with adaptation to the harbor park seawall, put the word harbor park in front of head of inner harbor? So we're saying facilitate fish passage and implement resilience measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at harbor park and head of harbor, or maybe we just take out head of harbor. Just say harbor park there, but I'm going back and forth on that one because it's a qualifier where we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I just don't think we need to say adaptation twice. Or we don't say twice, but you know what I mean? Like, we could put the word adaptation after resilience instead. Does that make sense? So we're taking out.
Resilience
And
adaptation.
adaptation.
Yeah.
And adaptation.
Yeah, to manage, but I think we should mention harbor park, right?
yeah, I
think
mean,
that's
to
gonna be
me,
key
if
for
you
the
add
last
it,
Because Harbor Park will be impacted as well as the seawall. There's the problem.
But if we're saying resilience and adaptation measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at Harbor Park, is that enough for, you think that's enough for the library?
Yes,
Yeah, so
So
can we
that's
take out,
inclusive enough.
I think so.
or we could say at Harbor Park, or in Harbor Park, at the head of the inner harbor?
I mean, to me, I would just move. Yeah, facilitate, the way it would read better to me is if you say facilitate fish passage and implement resilience measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of inner harbor with adaptations to harbor park seawall. To me, having it in between we're facilitating fish passage and implementing resilience, and there's this sort of extra piece in the middle of those, so it breaks up what's happening to me. I think if it were just reordered.
So you want to
Yeah.
link adaptation to
Okay.
Harbor Park seawall to the inner harbor work. Have that follow.
So to remove the phrase with adaptation to Harbor Park seawall. and
yeah.
Put that late, like put the word adaptation after resilience and then say Harbor Park where we say head of inner harbor, and maybe we say both of those.
And implement resilience adaptations? Is that what you're saying?
Resilience and adaptation measures.
That sounds more confusing to me.
Is it the word adaptation or?
Well, I mean, I think I like the way everything is worded in here. When I first read it, I got a little hitched up on. It feels like it's a list of the benefits. But then it kind of pauses to say that there'll be adaptations to Harbor Park seawall. And so the order to me feels a little hard to read. But I think with adaptations to Harbor Park seawall, it's still important.
So if that comes at the end, does that feel?
That's what
More
yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying, is if it's somewhere at the end with the head of the inner harbor
Yeah.
piece.
I'm not putting my pen to paper until you guys tell me.
Wait, sure.
And
Yeah, I don't understand the difference between what you and I are saying, actually. You're saying,
Because to me, if you say and implement resilience measures, resilience and adaptation measures, that feels more elusive than if the adaptation is tied directly to Harbor Park seawall.
And what's the difference between the
but
two?
I'm saying to add in Harbor Park right after the word sea level rise. So at Harbor Park and the head of. At Harbor Park, at the head of the inner harbor.
But what's the difference between resilience and adaptation measures?
Yeah.
I think adaptation is actually modifying the park to support the new free-flowing river.
Right.
So I think you're adapting the park to facilitate the new river location.
These
And not the
phrases are-
flood control.
these
I don't
phrases
think it
are
has anything to
part
do
of
with
your
flood
report.
control.
No, they are, no.
However,
Now you know why it took us so long.
we say seawall adaptation and resilience in Harbor Park. Does that work better? I don't know.
I think a big question for voters is going to be, am I voting on the dam or on Harbor Park?
Yeah.
And it's really vote on the dam. Really.
But
Yeah, but
it
I
is,
think
but
that's
it's,
to be,
It's-
the adaptation to the wall, I think
Altogether.
is necessary because it's, you cannot remove the dam without having that, any kind of
I know.
adaptation. So
Well-
I think you're not necessarily saying it's a whole revamp to Harbor Park all the way down to the boathouse. You're saying there has to be it's required to change the wall in some way.
When people read your full report,
Hmm?
it really fleshes this out. quite
Totally.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to think that that's part of what's going on. But I'm open to reformatting this however you wish, because it is a lot, it's chewy.
Mhm.
it is, but I mean, I think it would be much clearer if you just moved with adaptation to Harbor Park seawall
To after sea
to
level rise.
after the sea level rise. In other words, so it would be facilitate fish passage and implement resilience measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor and
With that.
I would say with adaptations
with
to Harbor Park seawall
adaptations.
at the head of Inner Harbor.
However, is that only limiting seawall? What about
Yeah.
that lower area that's gonna be impacted?
It needs to go
That's
all the way
why
to
I think it
boathouse.
needs to be seawall and Harbor Park,
Yeah, I agree.
or because the lower area of Harbor Park.
But
would be-
that's part of the resilience measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the
But
head
as
of the
long-
inner harbor.
As long as people realize that the resilience is for Harbor Park as well.
But it's saying that's what
I think
it's doing.
I think that's implied by moving it to the underlying
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah.
But to me, I think it needs to be clear that the Harbor Park seawall is changing.
Is changing.
Yeah, and I think this language is fine. I mean, I agree that if you just moved adaptation to the Harbor Park seawall to being after sea level rise, it just reads easier because it looks like a
Yeah.
continuous list and then what it's impacting.
Yeah.
to me.
And maybe what's confusing is that this warrant article includes, it's including both the reasons for doing it and some of the consequences.
Yep.
And so I think if you put the consequence, the seawall consequence, at the end, it's a little easier to tease those things apart. Because it's both. It's not just, these are the reasons we're doing it.
Mhm.
One of the consequences is adaptations to the seawall.
Another.
I support splitting the facility, I mean, the facilitate fish passage from the seawall language, just because the way
Yeah.
it reads, there's a connection between those two things, and I don't see that they are necessarily.
No, I
So-
think, yeah, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I agree with,
So you've got it in two different places now, which I think you guys are on the consensus is to move with adaptation to the Harbor Park seawall. And I have one motion to put it in after sea level rise,
Mm.
and I have another motion to put it in after the word harbor.
I think actually, yeah, I think if you put it after Harbor, that makes sense,
I think so.
because I think, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Because those
Yeah,
are really.
and I'm the one
connected.
who said after sea level rise, so that's, I'm.
Right.
That works.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Bill?
And did you want me to?
Oh, go ahead.
Around.
One, just for,
Mhm.
there was some discussion that you would add a further comment about Harbor Park, but are you good with the Harbor Park? I use the head of the inner harbor because Harbor Park is,
All the way up.
yeah, we're
Yeah,
talking about
all
work
along, right.
along the front of it.
Right,
Yeah.
I think it's enough
Whole
as it
thing.
is.
Yeah.
that
I
way.
think it's good the way it
I
is.
think both is, yeah.
And I like that in a different, in a way that addresses the fear that the library board supporters might be triggered by seeing that the town is messing with its, by using a different, term for it, the head of the harbor, I think it reduces that risk.
Is head of the inner harbor like a proper name? Is that why it's?
That's what I call
Capitalized?
the end of the water is the head of, and
I just because it's capitalized, that
Yeah,
threw me off a
ahead.
little bit.
Yeah, me too.
well,
Yeah.
I'm making things up as I go along. Seemed like
The
it's capital.
official head of
just
the.
named
Put it in italics, I suppose, right?
Mhm.
The answer to your question, Ellen, is yes, it is now.
I was like, maybe I missed that
I don't think it needs to be a capital H. If it was a small H, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
When you see a little
It
rough,
calls it,
really
fair
just-
enough. it was just a
Like
grammatical.
Statue.
That's
even.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
The head of the head.
A suggestion about
Okay.
wording about fish passage. Tyler had a great phrase. He used the phrase restore natural fish habitats. And I think that's clear to me what that means, rather than just adding a fish passage. What does that mean to people? But restoring natural fish habitats means, to me, that's more meaningful, but does that make sense?
It does, except
I
we've been
think-
talking about fish passage.
Yeah, over and over and over
Over
again.
and
And I
over.
think to switch it at this point,
Yeah.
maybe if we ever get around to talking about the middle area dams, Knox, and the other two.
Yeah.
That is much more
I'm a
about
little
habitat.
worried though that facilitating fish passage to people might think, oh, they're gonna create a fish passage. They're gonna, because
yeah,
that
when you
phrase is
mentioned
like
it, I had that same
technical, a
thought.
technical term that means, to me, it means like a structure to many, and to many people that might be
Except
confusing.
It says facilitate.
It
fish
says
passage.
facilitate fish passage.
Yeah.
The passage of fish.
Okay,
Not
make it-
facilitate
make
the
it-
construction of
Right.
it.
Construction,
Yeah.
it's not construction.
Yeah,
Bill,
right,
did you put
exactly.
excuse me, in your
I do,
notes
I
there,
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
before facilitate, you insert the word to, because it really helps right there instead of where we have
Oh, boy.
Where
to
would you? put-
return the river to
Facilitate.
facilitate fish passage. I think the word,
Oh,
TO
Yeah.
is needed,
Yeah.
I
really.
think I need to put a comma after the word passage now that we've moved with that.
That's exactly right. Yeah, passage, comma
To
after
return to a
passage.
free-flowing
Yep.
river that aligns
But,
the cascade and the underlying, to facilitate fish passage, comma, and implement resilience. That makes
Right.
sense to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
so it should be then to implement.
add another.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, isn't that kind of a standard usage thing to not add a second,
Yeah.
like an extra two in
You don't
front
need
of
to have a
every
second
subsequent
two.
verb?
Think
Into the Oxford comma again.
Yeah.
If you guys want to
We're
scrap,
into.
I will go.
Yeah, do not take my Oxford
No.
comment.
I'm out.
Okay, wait, what are we doing?
So there's a comma after passage.
Right.
Ray is suggesting the word to.
Yes.
I can go either way. The way I write it is not to put the two, but you could
Yeah.
put the two.
Fine.
Yeah, you would,
I
I think
lean no
I
to.
would say remove the comma and put to facilitate fish passage, comma, and implement resilience measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise.
Well, wouldn't you
But why
have
would
to
you
take a
repeat
two
it if
before
it's just a
implement,
series
Yeah.
of the same thing?
which I wouldn't want?
You don't
You
need
know
a
what?
second two.
No.
Yeah, what's a third two?
He wants to get rid of the second two,
Bill?
considering
Say
there's
two,
one.
three,
Bill,
or
I
two,
think
one,
on
two.
this one,
Well,
that's
you
going to
got
be
two
very
remaining.
small edits, okay? So I think,
Oh, yeah, you can remove
Has
the
he-
second.
once we
I
get-
think, yeah.
To
Once we get
return
the
it to the
revised
free
one.
flowing
No, no,
river,
wait.
comma.
I'm looking for the consensus. Is the consensus to put two in front of facilitate? T-O.
No.
I mean, I like,
No.
what I, okay,
No.
fair enough.
Well, it's okay. You can be loud. So
Well,
I-
I mean, what I liked
Then
about
you
it was
take
that
out
it
the two
changed
managed?
the perception of
Where's
what
the two
Courtney
managed?
was
Oh,
at
right
odds
down
with,
here.
in my
The
opinion,
two
but.
fish river-
No, because it's a different series.
Okay.
Fair. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not
other-
married to it
that
either way, so it's
additional
not worth
two
it.
Is a modifying,
all right.
Yeah.
something.
I don't need
it's
to
not-
argue just for the sake of arguing, it's so
no.
good.
No.
It's what it is.
I
I,
have a couple
I'm
more
too old for
suggestions.
this. I mean, the grammar I learned is probably out of date.
And better.
You just have to reference which, guidelines you're using, so we know what to expect.
I think we don't need to get this
Toggle me.
granular
No,
on
No.
the grammar.
no, okay.
No,
Bill
I
can
think
Probably handle that
People
too.
it's clarity. This
Yeah.
is not about poetry.
Already.
Did you know?
I didn't, no, I didn't know.
All right, okay.
Fair enough,
so
sounds great.
I'm gonna recap what I have so far. On the third line down, before the word aligns, we're gonna put in generally, which I
Mhm.
think is a
Yes.
helpful thing to do. We don't want to be too constrained. I'm gonna put a comma after the word passage at the end of the third line.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take with adaptation to the Harbor Park seawall, take it out and put it in after the word harbor
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
line 5.
Yep.
I'm gonna put a period after committee and take out everything after that and then put those references down into the note.
Right, and you're gonna change C2 to C3.
C,
Do we know what it's called?
Yeah, we better. I think
It's
we have to-
C.
Just C, not
C.
C3.
No, because
Can
we're
we
only
just
talking
say-
about C.
Can't we just take out option at all, and just say consistent with the findings and recommendations of the.
I think we want
I
to,
think he
I think
wants
being
to-
really
Oh,
clear.
A lot of people,
Yeah, people have seen all three scenarios.
Do
I
we-
think
do
they
we
to
need
know.
a-
But we don't really, so what I'm worried about is in the report, we don't really mention option C.
we don't.
Yes, we
Not
do.
Really. A little
Well,
bit.
it's scenario,
Yeah, it's
in
scenario,
this.
it's scenario,
Scenario C.
but it's also like rarely,
it's scenario C.
let me see.
But I think if somebody's looking at the
You see
report,
that?
they're gonna wanna know I'm for sure
Right
they're
there.
at the right.
Full dam
looking.
removal.
Yeah, I guess it's.
The
at
other, the fuller chart just broke down different things that could be done.
We should, I guess we should just make sure we're consistent with.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
But this is
Scenario
what's in
versus-
our current version,
yeah. Scenario C.
Scenario.
scenario
Scenario
C.
C.
Yeah,
I would
scenario
not-
C.
I would not want to not have the reference to
Yeah, I
that
agree.
level.
No,
But
I agree.
Courtney, you're the one who's worked on this most recently. Did you put the new ones in here?
The
We
new
don't
one?
know.
The one
We
you
don't
sent
have-
to us?
What
No,
do you mean by new ones?
no,
The new renderings?
no.
Because we don't,
Yes.
oh, you
So
got them?
these are the new ones,
Yes.
and
You
it's
still have the
scenario
version?
C.
I'm
No.
gonna put scenario C.
She got the new ones from Audra today.
Oh,
Nice, I haven't.
Okay,
yeah,
It's,
I
yeah,
didn't
we
have
do
that.
mention scenario A, B, C
Yeah. I think
at the
probably
very
scenario.
beginning, but we don't really, again, I can add it in to make it.
But is
Well,
the image,
no.
is the image labeled scenario
Yeah,
C?
in the-
Yes,
yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
was just
Then I
showing.
think it
Scenario
needs to
C.
be- I think you
Yeah.
should
Scenario.
keep
But
that
isn't that,
reference.
sorry,
Okay.
isn't that also going to be referenced in, I would think, you would have to correlate scenario C with a range of cost,
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
and it's called scenario C in the range of cost?
yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Okay, we've got a
Scenario
picture,
C.
we've got,
Yeah.
We've
Uh,
got
Yeah, but
consistency.
got
in
numbers.
the financial section, I don't know if we have a C ever, but I can add it in. That's what I'm thinking.
That'd be great, so that people know
Yeah.
which.
We did-
Figure 4
we're
just
sim-
says full dam, it doesn't say scenario.
Yeah, exactly. So should I add scenario back in just to make it clear?
Yes, please.
Yes, put a C after.
Going back to what you read so far, do we need a comma after facilitate fish passage? It's facilitate fish passage and implement resilience measures?
I think that it is appropriate to have a comma
I
there
think
because
too.
then it's and. I always put commas before ands
Right.
when you
Yeah.
have a series.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a couple more things.
I'm
Can I
teasing
bring them
you.
up?
Please,
Okay. Okay,
it's getting better,
So-
so keep going.
So two things that we didn't mention is improving river health or addressing flood risks.
Oh,
And I think those are kind of important things.
Well,
You
it
don't
says
think
to
manage
manage
floodwaters?
floodwaters.
manage
So-
floodwaters.
I thought of that, but I don't think that means, so people could interpret that with just sea level rise and not the fact that the dam is creating flood risk.
No, I think
No.
manage waters and sea level rise make.
What if we say flood risk? You think, so people are gonna know that managing flood waters means is related to the dam.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Everything in here is,
We
is
get it,
presumed to
but
be
I would
related to the dam.
assume.
I
people
think
understand that.
having sea level rise be separate makes clear that they're not the same.
'Cause to
About,
me-
what if we change it to manage river flooding? So then it's river flooding and sea level rise.
But our plan for managing flood risk is to remove the dam, not to implement additional resilience measures. This is reading like we're also going to implement resilience measures to manage the flood risks,
Is
which
that
is,
language straight out of?
I
the
don't
report,
think what we're
though?
doing.
I think.
We're
in some-
removing the dam to like hopefully eliminate, reduce significantly. the flood
But
risk.
I think that you would be implementing some resilience measures by having intentional plantings and things like that. Those things are it's not just removing the dam that's helping with flood risk.
I think what I'm thinking is I just wish it was higher up. I wish we were saying, fully remove the Montgomery Dam and spillway, return it to a free-flowing river, to improve river health, address flood risks, facilitate fish passage,
So just have it be
put it up,
facilitate fish
yeah,
passage.
put it up there, and then we can talk about resilience measures to manage sea level rise, really. I mean, that's what it's storm surge too, but that's the same thing.
I thought coupling the removal and then the explanation to return it to was important to know what the physical thing was. And then as we go along, we're sort of explaining the benefits.
Yeah,
The
I'm
first
comfortable
part's
with it.
physical and then the benefits
too.
follow.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm okay with it the way it's being amended,
Mhm.
without going the next step. I
So,
I think we're getting a little too into the weeds with it at that point, but
so we don't want to talk about River Hill anywhere.
We want to put river flooding, as Tyler said, manage river flooding.
I like the,
River-
the balance with the sea level rise. I think
Yeah, I like
that's
that
good.
a lot.
It's a good change.
okay.
I guess if you were confused whether floodwaters was
Yeah.
associated with the ocean or the river.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least
Sort of
putting river.
both, because there's, frankly, I was thinking, I say both, but I was thinking more river because that's coming down.
But it's also sea level rise. Some of the stuff along Harbor Park
Absolutely.
is going to be about that. So I take it back.
So manage river flooding instead of manage flood waters. I could support that.
Manage river flooding. Everybody okay with that?
That's, that was your,
That was my suggestion if there was confusion with regard to.
does that allay any of
I
your
just feel like
concerns,
this is
Courtney?
Two different things. Like, one is we're removing a dam to improve the river health, to create fish passage, to address flood risks. That's one thing. And then the other thing is we're implementing resilience measures in Harbor Park. And I think we need to separate those, because if we add on the flood, managing floodwaters in that section, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't come across as if that's related to the dam removal.
So what you feel is the managing of the floodwaters is more something to do with the head of the harbor
Yeah.
park as opposed to the dam removal.
Right, because we're saying and implement, it's a totally different sentence or part of the sentence. It's not related to the dam removal. It's a,
It's related to the resilience measures of the park.
So,
yeah,
okay.
it's a separate.
But the resilience measures have been moved down.
But isn't, and this is what I meant by getting into the weeds, the whole thing is the binary. Are we removing the dam or not? And I think that's,
But why are we doing it? We're only saying we're moving it to return it to a free flowing river. And to facilitate fish passage. That's all
but
we're saying.
everything below that flows from the dam removal. So it's the only reason we're talking about any words in the, in this whole warrant article is because we're asking people thumbs up or thumbs down on dam removal.
Yeah, I don't find any issue with the way that it's.
No, Courtney, it says clearly implement resilience measures is part of the reason for taking the dam down. It's not just free flowing river and fish passage. That's all linked together.
Yeah, I read all of those as being in support of removing the dam.
Exactly. The reasons to do it.
Right.
You guys are gonna dream about this tonight and have all different.
No, I actually did the other night, had a dream, like anxiety dreams.
Oh, I have lots of, I have dreams that I'm editing.
This kind of.
Every single night I'm editing.
Can I insert some additional anxiety here and just ask, I don't know who has the gavel tonight, but
I do.
we're almost 5:30 and we're still
Yeah.
in what we're supposed to have completed by 4:50,
Well. Yeah.
which I'm okay with, but I
So,
think we should
Bill,
bring it to a
you-
close.
Yeah.
You've made note of the changes
Yep.
that we're mostly in agreement of. Can we get another draft? And if we
mail
can
it
bear
all
to
of
sit
us?
around the table
Yeah.
and do this particular document again, but I think we need to have a clean copy of what
Right.
we seem to have agreed about.
You want it, would you like it redlined or do you just want it clean?
No,
Just clean.
Yeah.
Red line is so
No,
hard.
don't
to-
track it, please.
I'll go do
It's
that
really
now.
way too hard for me.
That would be great. That would be very helpful.
No,
That's what gives me that.
I'll bring back a
tracking changes.
another version. And I'll add some other language at the bottom. We're still missing the range of costs, which I do think need to go in there.
So how do you
Have the
how
new
do you need
range
to
of
get
costs?
that?
Did that get to you?
Right.
Whoever's got them,
Okay,
are they
Yeah,
available?
we don't have
We
the
don't have yet.
range yet to put in
Okay.
there.
So
So there's
how
nothing we
does-
can guide you on with that because we don't have it.
Why don't we have the range? I thought we had all.
No, do you remember that Audra was saying that it's gonna switch from being a specific number and move to being a range?
Oh, I see what you're
Right, so
saying.
that table,
Gotcha.
that
Yes,
table
yes,
that
yes,
we
yes.
have in the document will change, and so then that would be what's reflected in here. So if we reflect what it was, it just wouldn't be, I mean, there's no reason to put in the
So
wrong info.
I will push Audra and say we need that for the warrant. since it's gonna go in there.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah. Okay, let me go clean this part up. I'll add some language at the bottom that I think you want, and then we'll see what you think.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you.
I have a question though about the note part, or we haven't talked about that. Is that,
He's gonna,
but is all that necessary to write that?
I think it's important that they
You
know
do?
how much work you've done.
Yeah, I like it.
And
I
where
was
it's not
expecting it to be
binding.
more details about the process and how, what.
I
It's
think-
all
That's in the
our
report.
It's all in
and in
our-
fact, it's repeated in the report.
Yeah.
It's in more than one place in the report.
I'm still really, I say, I'm really worried about the flood risk piece of this, and I also think we need to mention improving the river health, but
But the
I'm
flood
gonna
risk
leave it
part,
there
the
and.
flood risk part is already in here. Let's see.
I just don't think
if
it
pops
said
out
what we
better.
wanted to say.
Next draft, and then if
Yeah.
you want to pack that up. Do that.
That sounds good.
They're not gonna like that.
We have to have it done by Friday, right? This.
Oh,
Yeah.
This, no, yeah, by Friday, we have to have the report, not the warrant,
Oh, when's the warrant due?
later. Vague. It has to, it's, it's like a month before the select board has to approve it, approve the language, and then it has to be posted. So since the vote's in June, I would say probably earliest would be April.
Oh, okay. So we've got time.
No, we've got time.
Huh?
That's-
No.
Okay.
The warrant and everything has to be printed in April.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's
Okay.
all I'm saying.
I missed the big one, sorry.
But I don't see, I mean, I think we should be able to come to consensus.
Yeah,
I think we will.
Yeah.
see it written
But
out, maybe
I'm
it makes
just-
more sense. I'm struggling.
Well, I think it's just,
Maybe that's just.
And-
because
and
I
we-
can't
and we-
see it, you know?
And we
Well, and I
nitpick
think-
like little things, but I think,
Yeah,
I think giving yourself a little break from it and coming back. to it.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
and
I think
also,
it's good to look at it with regard to like, if I'm someone who's vaguely familiar with this project and I read this, do I understand what it's doing?
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what,
Maybe we should pass it around to like a friend or something, or somebody who doesn't know much about this and say, what do you think? Because we're in the weeds.
we're in the weeds, but I think we can. I was going to
Yeah.
suggest the same thing Tyler just did. That we give careful thought to who's the audience for this.
Mhm.
And let's
My
tailor
concern.
the language to that audience.
Someone who doesn't know a thing.
And it can't, but nobody can't cover everybody who doesn't know anything.
No.
And it can't
Like,
cover people who
that's-
know everything.
You
There's
gotta
a
find
whole
somewhere in the middle.
Bunch of
yeah.
people in the middle. But we can figure that out.
I just,
Just means more meetings.
no.
Okay, now let's move on because I don't think we want to meet again before Friday. So,
Oh,
We
can't.
voting?
That's
Yes, I
right.
don't want to meet again before. Friday.
Hell, Heck, no.
it's just, I don't know whether everyone's, I know Elfie didn't have a chance to read the whole thing. The most recent changes were from landscape aesthetics to Harbor Park. But I would like us to look at key findings and recommendation and make sure that that's ready to go. Wherever it appears in the document, because that does,
21.
yeah,
And the version that I should be pulling up right now,
When I
So
just
the
when
sent
one
this came to us in
Courtney
the
sent
email.
today.
okay, our Mercac recommended edits, bottom of that. for support. See two documents.
Because the other sections, I think, if we did nothing, given all the work that the suggestions people made and the work that Courtney put in to make it make sense. And there weren't that many. There were a couple of those sections that got most of it. And one of the big, Harbor Park did, and so did, community.
Yeah, that's all
outreach.
new.
What the,
Yeah.
So, but the key findings and recommendation, if that's not right, because that supposedly is based on everything that comes before it.
I'm on Camden Opera House.
Wait, say that again? It's,
Passwords.
Yeah,
It's
it's
based on
everything.
everything that comes
no, I
before
heard
it.
that
There's
part, but
no,
did you say something? else?
password.
Oh,
I-
I thought you said that it's not right. That's
Canada
what
No,
House.
no,
I heard.
I said if it's not right,
Oh,
then we've got a
Oh, I see.
problem.
Do you think it's
Yes.
important for us in the key findings and recommendation to match like, I thought it was interesting that he put Montgomery Dam and spillway. And this one has just Montgomery Dam.
we don't mention the spillway very much.
Do you think
That's
it's
something we
important
can
or
add
not?
in throughout the whole document.
Do you think it's, I mean, to
Yeah,
me, I
I've
see,
struggled with that too.
to me, I find the spillway is part of the Montgomery Dam structure, but maybe
Yeah.
that's, maybe that's overreaching. I don't know.
Had the
But
same question
what
in my
is it
head.
you want to do in this section?
Uh,
No,
I'm-
just in general.
I'm reading the key findings and recommendation.
Yeah.
And like the first bulleted thing, and I'm comparing this to the warrant article
Ah, that's
where
what I-
they
okay.
use the Montgomery Dam and spillway. And I'm just the question. and-
Okay, so
part of the-
removing the Montgomery Dam and spillway.
I
Is
get-
that where you're thinking?
Does it help you out? I don't know. I wouldn't add words in to make it longer.
The
But it
dam-
doesn't, all the charts, all their references to it.
Hmm.
It's just full removal of the dam.
Right.
Are these,
Yeah.
there's two in this email. Are they the same?
One is clean, one is.
Track
um,
changes.
Right.
tracked.
Okay, I want the one
And you
without the
can't
track
see which
changes.
one
Yeah,
does.
I mean,
Key
the
findings
spillway
and
is part of the dam.
That's kind of what I was.
Right. The
That's my gut
sluiceway,
feeling.
you might think about that as being a little bit different because that's beyond the dam.
Fine.
But I don't, that's
just-
not
Yes.
center of most people's minds, the
Right.
sluiceway.
Yes, and a lot of people mix up what the sluiceway and the spillway is. I just say the dam.
Do you think in
Kind of, I
Bill's
think
do you think in Bill's document, when he comes back, we should tell him,
Yeah.
to get rid of the spillway word?
Yeah,
This,
that's actually a good idea.
Right, because that's what people are gonna be voting on, really.
how do I find page
Not like
numbers?
an Out of body experience.
It's page 22.
That's, I'm looking at the document on my phone and I
Maybe
can't
it's-
see
oh.
page numbers.
Oh,
Oh,
it's, it's
the
literally
bottom?
at the bottom. It's the last thing before the.
Page 22.
appendix.
Thank you, I'll figure it out.
I mean, I've
I
read
still
the,
can't-
I've got it printed.
There's no page numbers.
unless it's been changed, key findings and recommendations, I've read it. I think it's great.
Changed was the first paragraph. I updated that to the one that we'd already agreed on in our last meeting because it's much more detailed.
That first paragraph that starts with this decision is rooted.
Nope,
No,
we,
leave it
the
alone.
Montgomery
Oh, we
River-
that,
Under the key findings, we're under the key
Right.
findings. Yeah.
Yeah,
you
I
changed the
just-
word vote to decision.
yes.
Yep.
Does that make more sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It sounded funny if we, yeah.
No,
started-
that was good
started with
change, I
8
think.
out of the 9, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, right.
Now one's gone. it's flipped
And then I
around.
thought, Susan had a really good idea to add in the last paragraph. Does everyone,
As members of,
As members of the
Yeah,
work
yeah,
camp.
And the only other thing that I wondered if we should also add is just the townspeople of Camden. Who
Can I add-
also,
Can I ask you a question? How come I'm not listed as a member?
yeah, well, I think,
you're out, Ray.
well, and
I don't
that
think
was,
you want it to be.
no, that was one of my questions. I think you should be listed as a committee member, but
Right.
I'm wondering
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
felt you didn't want your name on there because you didn't agree with this decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
right.
how do
Section though.
we do
Huh?
that?
Do
That
you
was
want,
my question.
I
How do
mean, we
do
could-
that?
No, but are you happy to submit this report as a member of the committee?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
if so,
I mean,
then your
obviously,
name
I
can
am the
go on here.
one, I am the one up
Yeah,
here.
It
I'm
makes sense
nine,
for
but
your name
it's,
to still be on.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
Absolutely.
Agree with
Yeah.
it. I understand.
Years
yeah,
of
I think
work.
Right.
it's-
so Raymond Andresen, Andresen.
got that right.
Yeah, no, I'm
And
I'm
you
a
don't
member of
have to
this
just roll
committee.
these-
Yeah,
And you
Right.
definitely.
But then
don't
are
have
you
to work on-
recommend, that means you're recommending?
No,
No.
No, he's,
I'm not
no, he's
changing. No, no,
respectfully
no, no, It's
submitting.
still gonna be 8 to
Full
1.
committee.
He's respectfully submitting.
he's the one.
Respectfully commit, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
and he's, I
Right.
mean, that, he would
Right.
fit into any of the rest of that last paragraph
Right.
too.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Can I return to being a pedant here? In the new paragraph above respectfully submitted.
Hmm.
It's, everything above that uses the present tense. And yet this one says we have appreciated the opportunity. Do we just appreciate the opportunity?
Appreciate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Good catch.
Thanks.
And you're saying, Susan, add in
I'm
something
wondering if
about,
we could add, the
townspeople?
townspeople of Camden, who also have
Yeah.
given us support and informed our decision.
Mm.
citizens of,
Yeah,
And
either the
citizens
town
with
voters or the
residents of
citizens or
Camden?
residents, whatever you want to
Neighbors.
say, but this was a line I stole from Dover Foxcroft.
Did you want to add
some
who
good stuff in there.
Yeah, but they.
Who have
Right.
contributed? Did you want to add who have contributed something, or do you want to just say and
I-
residents of Camden?
Just citizens of
Professional
Camden,
support,
because they've
citizens of
contributed
Camden.
different
Yeah,
things.
Citizens
Right.
instead of residents? Or community?
Whatever.
Whatever you want to call them.
My own thought.
Are nature like,
Citizens.
so I'm gonna keep coming back to nature. like.
Nature like.
Take
I'm
any-
natural.
So.
Oh.
I'll take one.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't see that before.
So other things on this particular section of the documents? Is the whole first page okay?
Yes.
I think so.
Yep.
Since the community input is new, do you wanna?
We'll go to there. I just want to make sure we're done with this.
I like,
Oh,
I
I
thought
thought
that
we
was
were-
well written.
Look at all those
Nice.
pictures.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I mean,
Very.
Yeah.
So we are done with
Hopefully
the key
gave me a
recommend,
good-
the key findings?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so then we'll go back to community input.
Community input.
I
Oh,
thought
wait
it
a-
was very well done.
Oh, that's interesting.
Good.
Can I just go back to, before we get into substantive stuff? So each one of these MERCAC meetings is a hyperlink to
Yes.
the YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
that's interesting. And there were just some that we didn't
Yeah.
put up
Like
for
the
whatever
last
reason?
ones that
Oh,
recorded.
that's interesting.
Just the last few that.
Very cool.
That we're
not very good.
managed.
Yeah, we're like. how do you-
I have one question on the recommendation summary. You're gonna kill me.
I'm gonna kill you, Susan.
I know it, but I just,
You gotta do it.
it's the second paragraph, the last line, and it says, we are presenting our recommendation for the Montgomery Dam first because this decision. And I wondered if it should say the town voters' decision will impact the recommendations for the upstream dams. In other words, whatever the town votes will impact it.
Where are you?
So I'm at recommendation
Right
summary.
back here.
Yep.
Beginning,
on
right after this
page
table of
two.
contents.
Yeah, but which
On
paragraph?
page two.
Oh, sorry, up here.
It starts with what?
Okay.
This is
It starts with we reviewed, and it's the last sentence. It says, we are presenting our recommendation for the Montgomery Dam first because this decision will
I can't
impact.
find where you
And I read it.
I think that's page 2.
No, I know. No,
Under what
20
heading? Because I don't have page
Wait a
numbers.
minute. Summary?
Oh, you're the early part.
Way,
yeah.
way in the very beginning.
Oh,
sorry.
Presenting
Okay.
I found
Oh,
it.
you went way back. Now
Well,
I'm really annoyed.
I'm sorry. But I just wondered whether it's this decision. Is it our decision or is it the town voters' decision?
I think the decision being made on the Montgomery Dam is implied in that wording.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could say this decision made by, comma, made by town
I-
voters or voted by the town will impact the recommendation.
I just wondered whether it should say the town.
Maybe we
voters'
should say,
decision.
yeah, this decision made by town voters.
Or the
in
town
June.
voters' decision.
How about this
Will-
vote?
Where are you?
Well,
So it's the second.
I think it's fine the way it is.
Mine's page 3, page 2.
Oh.
second paragraph after
It-
recommendation.
What is the bold-faced beginning of the paragraph?
Recommendation summary.
Okay.
And it's
So
the
then-
Then
second
we, the
paragraph.
Megunticook,
Page
No,
three.
it's the-
Oh, I
it's the
see.
paragraph before it.
we
I got it.
reviewed.
We reviewed.
Mhm.
That's the last sentence. We are presenting our recommendation for the Montgomery Dam first
Ah.
because.
You could say this.
We are
vote
first
instead of the-
recommending, or no, we are first presenting?
Mayor Ricky?
Well, I just wondered what this referred to. Is it
We are
our
presenting-
decision or the town voters?
Or is
decision?
it the Camden Select Board's decision?
Exactly. I'm just asking. if that
What,
needs
can
to
you
be
just change it to
clarified.
this vote? will
Because,
impact-
or the town's vote?
That's what I said, the town vote or the town voters' decision. I mean, I don't know. Does that need to be changed? I'm asking.
Well, because, that's right, because I think the
Hmm.
decision, the way it is now,
Mhm.
you wonder whether it's
What
the
decision?
board.
Is it our
or-
decision that we're giving this recommendation? What is this decision?
Mhm.
Plus, we
So
haven't
how about
talked, we haven't
the
talked about
town's Decision.
the decision yet, and what we're talking, we haven't even talked about what we're. what the
I'm
decision
just
is.
asking
It's
what
because
this
the town
refers to.
vote will impact.
Because
I
the
would say the
town
town
vote
vote.
on Montgomery Dam will
For the
impact the
town
recommendations.
vote
How
will
about that?
impact the recommendations for
Yeah.
upstream dams.
The town vote
Uh,
on Montgomery Dam.
Sure.
Good.
That,
Mhm.
sorry.
No,
Just-
that's- that's
Okay,
really
no, that's
cool.
good. That's a good.
There's like 1,000 little things like that I keep finding.
Right.
"Oh,
That's
thank
what, when
you,
I was
but I
going
mean,
through it,
I
I was like, well, I
Look
could
at
just.
it,
use
and I
like-
said, what does this
Consequential.
refer to?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Sorry,
So much.
Good.
I'm being anal. What can
No,
I
I-
say?
thank
I
you.
love
No,
it.
it's okay, but if you did it in sequence, it would be easier.
Oh,
I
you
came
kidding?
across it today when I was reading.
I
thought,
know,
"Oh,
stop reading it. No, don't. They're good suggestions.
Good
So
stuff.
community input
I thought that was nice.
Back-
Well
on
read.
page 21.
Back down.
Got it right here.
Wasting precious
Oh, that's okay. I can
Scroll.
pull it. Is it before or after history? and
Page
culture?
21.
Okay.
No, it's at the very,
Just
it's
after
at the
Harper
very
College.
end. Rick.
Community input. I see it. There it is in blue.
Yeah.
One question, Courtney, did you compose this?
Yeah, with
Right.
Elfie's suggestions.
So the third
and I
paragraph,
tweaked
we
things.
received contrasting perspectives. From which source? Is this in general? Was this from the survey? Which is
Oh,
highlighted
does it
in
come
the,
across like it's from the survey maybe?
All right.
So.
so it's, this is all about what the survey gave us?
No,
No, but this, we received contrasting perspectives in the survey? Or,
no, this is just general.
Throughout
So
our.
that's a good
Yeah, I
catch.
was gonna
So
say
Throughout our.
right,
yeah, maybe
that's what
throughout
I
the
thought, but do you
process?
need to say that?
Process, throughout our
Okay,
process.
throughout the process, thank you.
And we use the phrase, a range of about 6 times in the,
have
right
we?
above. So it's, because that's what that would have been my
Thank you.
go-to is we received a range of perspectives.
Oh, no, I did that and then I changed it. Yeah, yeah.
Lot of
That's
range.
exactly what I did. Contrasting. I was-
Multitude of.
I wasn't sure.
Yes, a veritable plethora.
Variable.
The cornucopia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In abundance.
It was have to not say range about 7 times.
Do you feel like you got a sentence that felt good from that?
I just said throughout the process,
Okay,
comma.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, while you were gone, we want to bring up spillway,
Oh.
right in that first part, second line.
Yeah, the first sentence, shall the town to fully remove the Montgomery Dam and spillway. Can we take spillway out? Since it's part of the dam, or is it?
I believe that's the language that was used in your report.
Well, you know, at this point that we are not totally.
That report has changed quite a bit.
We just changed it in another
It's
part of the
changed.
report.
In my nightmares every night.
It's gonna be in his nightmares
Seriously, yeah, I
now.
woke up one morning, I was like,
Literally.
well, now I'm very not well rested.
So
It's
other
unreal.
things in the community input,
Slow reader, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Time too.
I don't want to keep Bill here while we're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
this.
Yeah, we'll shift back to him once he's ready to sit.
Maybe you could just say we listened to concerns, including historical. rather than heard a
Where are you?
range. Rather than heard a range, if you try to take out heard a range many times. listen.
Where are you?
Community
Oh, I think it was,
I
he
know,
was just
but
saying
which
not
paragraph?
to, oh,
That's only mentioned.
Like we couldn't add
once.
one more.
Yeah, it's mentioned
there's
once. and I
twice,
tried
there's a
really
through a
hard.
range and a heard a range, but a third one I think would be, yeah.
Mhm. Be bingo.
Take out the alien.
Downtown. What is it?
I'm good with it.
You did say it twice.
It's slightly different. You just used the word range.
No,
twice.
but
What
it's
happened?
bothering me.
I know, I
Take
can't,
out a range in the first one. We heard concerns, including historical preservation, aesthetics.
Or we could say a variety of concerns.
a variety of
Same.
concerns, yeah.
We heard.
I'm doing that. Variety. Done.
What do you call those? A bouquet?
Okay.
Kaleidoscope.
Right.
A bouquet of concerns.
I'm glad
Copyright.
to be able to slap happy too.
I love that. You can roll with that. I'm gonna work it into all kinds of things.
It's a phrase I'd never heard. What was it?
Yeah, we all learned that in law school.
Soup to nuts?
You never heard soup to nuts?
Really? Never in my life.
I don't.
Never in my life.
Wow.
Serving on this
You're gonna
committee.
hear it now all the
finally gave you
time.
Something.
Apparently nuts are after dessert. So
What?
Soup is
soup is the
first.
beginning, nuts
Nuts
is
is
after
dessert.
dessert. Must be a French
Oh.
thing.
I never knew where it came from.
I never knew that.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
So
But
the
we
whole-
don't know where it came from.
For what it's worth, I mean, this is in your rationale for recommendation. Removing the dam and aligning the cascade to its original path, period. dam removal would entirely remove all masonry associated with the dam and spillway. So if you don't want the spillway, but that's what your rationale is.
I wonder if it should say sluice way.
No.
No. We took it out of a later section because at the back.
We also had all masonry too for a while.
Right, but I mean, just while Bill was off trying to help us, we changed some section at the back of the report to take, was it in the final section? There was a reason for removing spillway. I'm trying to recall what that reason was. It was the first sentence in key findings and recommendation. We, the MERCAC, in an 8-to-1 decision, are recommending full removal of the Montgomery Dam, and spillway had come out of that.
We just thought it was unnecessary and confusing potentially.
So,
I don't know why we need it. Is there a reason why we need it?
but that's what the question was, is the spillway part of the dam?
What do you think the spillway is? When you guys were saying you're gonna remove
Is
this,
It's
part
the
of
part
it.
where the water goes over.
Right.
Which is the dam.
Is the dam. Yeah. I think
Well,
it's-
no, if you
Theater is
talk
there.
to
There's the
technical
spillway
people.
and there's the sluice way. The
Right.
sluice way is like where the
That's
gate
different.
and
Where the
that
gate-
whole like channel goes.
Yeah.
And then the spillway has the
Well, there wouldn't be
south
any-
spillway and then it has a west,
Right, but there's water-
west spillway.
There would be a
Yeah.
scenario
Right.
where we're removing the dam and not the spillway and not the sluice way.
Right.
Those are.
But isn't the sluice way part of the dam structure?
Yes.
Well, right, yeah, you
So
wouldn't,
it's
you wouldn't
the
remove the dam
spillway.
and
So is the
leave
spillway.
a sluice way.
No.
I would
And
say
if you
say
remove the dam,
including-
you wouldn't have a
Including
spillway.
the spillway and sluice way. We
So-
could make a little.
The dam includes all of that, does
I
it
think
not?
just take it
That's
out.
what
I
we're-
think just
that's what
Montgomery
we're
Dam,
saying.
if
Yeah.
that reflects what
I
we
think
have in our
it's-
recommendation, or current.
But before that recommendation was finalized, it had
Somewhere
spillway.
though, I'm sure I didn't catch it somewhere.
all right, so I'm sorry, the consensus is take out spillway?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
As hard as it was to reach, we're not going to revisit it.
And Courtney, are you okay removing it from page 11, the top of page 11? That's where he's referencing, sorry.
Is that under the cost?
This is under rationale for recommendation scenarios considered. I have it as top of page 11, but
Scenarios considered, okay.
C, full, removing all masonry, so that one had that's where they kind
Are you looking at a marked up? copy?
Yeah.
of, maybe,
Well, I'm just saying, does it have the,
yes, it's marked up.
okay.
Is middle ground, just throw this out, a parenthetical after Montgomery Dam, including spillway? Or is that just,
I think if you say spillway, you'd have to also include sluice way and
Right.
things like that. So it's just
I agree.
Montgomery Dam.
I
think
agree.
I think it's simple enough that people realize
All right.
that you're gonna
Because
remove
if-
the dam.
Then the rest is going to go with it.
Like I threw,
You think people are thinking the spillway is the dam? Like, if you really didn't know anything about it, you would think that
No, it's
wall is
very
what we're talking
confusing.
about.
Yeah.
That's what people like.
Existing.
Yeah.
dam.
The people who like it, they like the trickling water. over
like
the
I bought
bellback.
I bought a new
What we
house
have
and
in-
a roof.
Right.
Like,
Boy, did you get something?
Yeah.
I'm gonna upsell you on the roof.
Okay.
all right, so,
Spillway's mentioned 9 other times in the document, so I might have to go make sure.
so I'm
I
gonna
don't
take
think
out
that's considered
spillway. What else? Did you guys have a chance to look
Yeah.
at this?
Your new one, not yet. No,
Yeah,
we're
okay.
battling over.
I
the
did, it
other
looked
one.
good.
Yeah.
Focus.
Yes, so you're
It's good.
taking spillway out.
I'm taking spillway out. I'll get you another version, but I want to make
No,
sure I've got all your changes first.
Share.
I'll be
You-
version 3.
How much time do you have?
Longest meeting I ever had went till 5 AM.
Oh, my.
Oh, is it
Whoa.
to return it to a free-flowing river system that aligns the cascade to its original underlying ledge channel,
Hates,
facilitates? I think it should
S,
have an S,
yes.
right?
facilitates fish passage.
Was there a-
No, return.
To facilitate.
Well, there's no two.
There's no.
There's
two.
no two. That's right.
The two's up above.
There is a 2. It's above.
No, no,
To return it to a free-flowing river system that
Right.
does this.
facilitate fish passage.
It's got 2 that modifies facility.
Implement.
So
Okay.
it's there, but it's ahead of.
Yep.
Way up
Return.
Yeah.
I mean, to.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Oh, that's right. We fought over that, didn't we?
I'm a little worried that the library is not gonna like the mention of the seawall. Because when I've talked to Jennifer, it's clear that they're not just intent in creating or recreating the seawall. They want resilience, like living shoreline. And that's what we had said that we want as well. We don't necessarily need a seawall. We want adaptation.
I feel
that
that,
what
I feel,
adaptation
I think
means?
adaptation,
But to the seawall, so that just
That's
means, to
not
me, that
saying
means,
it's, that does not, to me, that doesn't read that it has to stay a seawall.
and I would say when you look at scenario C,
sounds like it to
when
me.
you reference scenario C, it's definitely implied within there that more is going on than just rebuilding the existing structure.
Right.
Like in your document, there's references to granite seat walls.
In my C2, it's resilience for seawall. It's page 9. So that's why I wrote
Yeah,
that
I
that
think it's
way.
fine as it is. Is there an extra
Yeah,
space
but
between
since
C and
then, we've
wall?
had a lot of conversations.
Yes, there is between
with
C and
the
wall.
library,
two
and
words.
they're like, this
Be
is a really big concern. I know they're gonna come back and say this is
does
not,
seawall have to be capitalized?
yeah, that should not be capitalized either.
You don't want seawall capitalized.
No.
And we don't want
Wait,
an extra
why
space.
can't we just take out the sea? Why do we need seawall?
It's actually, I tried that. That is.
It
one
won't come
space.
out,
It's
huh?
one space.
Yeah,
Interesting.
We're,
Okay.
we're going to get pushback. I know it. Like this, the way it stands.
Well,
we have
time,
So,
So is it
the
something that
select
you
board's
can
gonna
then?
fight about this too, so
Right,
let's
they'll
let
hear-
them.
Yeah,
I
right.
think the
Draw
concern
it.
is that, does it really talk about Harbor Park enough, or is it just, does this look like it's just the seawall?
Just
that
the
you're talking
seawall.
about? And that I think would be their concern.
I think this whole piece of it that says and implement resilience measures, that should just be about Harbor Park in the inner harbor. It should not be focusing on the river, like having to do with flood risk. That's where I keep on getting stuck, because I think it muddles it, and then I think the library is gonna come and
But
say
they're
that
all
it's
reasons for doing it. Which is what this is about. This is what we're asking them to vote, and for the following reasons. I mean, I honestly don't see
I think.
what
yeah.
they would object to, because there is resilience measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor, which is not just the seawall, right? It's that whole section at the bottom of Harbor Park.
Yeah.
With adaptation to the Harbor Park seawall.
Is this something, Susan, that you can bring to the library and ask? Is this wording in
Do
terms
you
of
see that
seawall?
problem? Do you see
I-
it's problematic?
My concern is that it looks like it's just the seawall that you're talking
Right.
about, and not Harbor Park.
Yeah.
And that's my concern. Adaptation to the Harbor Park seawall. You know, if you said to Harbor Park,
Could you say with adaptation to
why-
Harbor Park, including the seawall?
yes.
Why do we need to say adaptation? Why can't we just say sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor and Harbor Park? We're implementing resilience measures. Or I would say resilience and adaptation measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor and Harbor Park.
And leave the seawall out
Yeah,
altogether.
I don't think we need it.
Susan, what do you think? You know the library.
Well, yeah, and I mean, my concern, as I said, is I'm concerned that it's just the seawall, reading it this way.
So if seawall comes out and
Mhm.
Harbor Park is inserted, does that cover the
I think
concern they would
so.
have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we do that, Bill?
Yeah, I'm just, for what it's worth, just to say. that
He's
What-
like,
We know you did your homework.
What you wrote was adaptation and resilience for
So
seawall.
we
I
didn't
know.
write that. That was written by consultants and then we.
But they
changed
are
it, and
different.
it's Yeah.
All right, so where are?
That's the problem. The problem is that we took that and then we had to kind of make it make sense for us.
We are on the
And so,
third
and
and
you
fourth
go-
line of your warrant.
So we've got head of the inner harbor. What
Mhm.
happens after that?
well, you're changing it to resilience and adaptation measures is what Courtney recommended.
With resilience and adaptation measures.
Measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor with and head of the
Harbor Park.
and Harbor Park.
Okay, hang on. Head of the inner harbor with resilience.
No,
Okay.
just, we've already said that. managing floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor
Right.
and Harbor Park.
And Harbor Park
In a manner generally.
and
Yeah.
Harbor Park.
And you just cross out Harbor Park seawall, just
No,
make it harbor.
Just seawall, keep
Just
the harbor.
cross
part.
out seawall.
Yeah.
But we also don't want adaptation down there either. It
Right,
goes
the
up above.
adaptation goes up behind resilience and adaptations.
Well, the way I just get one talker.
You can do it.
Head of the inner harbor and Harbor Park. With
Period.
No, in a
No,
manner
in a
generally
manner
consistent.
generally consistent.
Oh, in a
with
manner
scenario.
generally consistent, sorry, with scenario C.
Hang on, let me just read this, because this is what you had. I want to make sure. Head of the inner harbor and Harbor Park with resilience adaptation, just let me finish.
Okay,
With resilience adaptation measures to the Harbor Park seawall. You don't want all of that.
no.
Okay,
It
so
would say facilitate fish passage and implement resilience and adaptation measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor and Harbor Park in a manner generally consistent.
If somebody's written this out, can they just show Bill? It might be easier.
I'm
I've
trying to
not
get
written
it
it out.
over to my.
To your computer.
Bring some notes.
So the way this reads, I am gonna be really annoying and say it one more time. The managing floodwaters is associated with the head of the inner harbor and Harbor Park. It's not associated with the structures, the buildings above the dam. It's not
you got it.
associated with buildings like further upstream.
I
And
think
that's, I think,
managing
really
floodwaters-
key to this whole
No, but
thing.
what, you gotta start, make it a complete sentence, subject, verb, object.
Actually, let me- I thought that was
What?
after
Because you
this.
started
Yeah, I-
in middle sentence. You was-
After inner harbor.
So just say it again.
Courtney, I think the sea level rise part is the harbor part and the floodwaters can still be in reference to the river.
It is.
Yeah, I think you might be a silo on this one.
So say that again,
I'm gonna go get my computer, have it here, so
Okay.
that I can,
where I'm stuck is this whole part where we're talking about implementing resilience and adaptation to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor and Harbor Park. That's where we talk about floodwaters. I don't think it goes
No,
there. I
it's to
think,
manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of Harbor Park. That's the part that's being connected to Harbor
You
Park.
use
The
it.
the floodwaters are still connected to the river.
So break your mind. You're good. Ellen, I think
it's
I-
the implement, it's the word implement maybe then. That's like, to me, it sounds like we're implementing, we're creating, we're building, we're doing something to manage the floodwaters. And and then when we say at the head of inner harbor and Harbor Park,
So then
that's
maybe-
where we're doing it, managing the floodwaters there, in my mind. It's not. I mean, maybe we could change it to river water and then it would make
So
sense,
maybe
but
then
I
you
want to
need
find
to
out.
move to manage floodwaters after passage and then have implement resilience measures.
I've heard so many versions of this that I'd like to at least get on paper what the various, like, I'll put Courtney's respectfully, your tweaks aside for a sec, because I think, Ellen, what you said reflects where my brain was. So just let me make sure. If you start with passage, comma, and implement, and I need to figure out where and adaptation will go.
Resilience and adaptation measures.
So it's resilience and adaptation measures, not resilience measures and adaptation.
Right.
Okay, so I did have that right. To manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the harbor and Harbor Park in a manner generally consistent with scenario C.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That is, all right.
Yeah,
So that's
that makes sense.
reflected here. And then once we get past this, then we'll hear Courtney's piece. Okay. Implement resilience and adaptation measures. Leave that alone. Now scoot down to where it
What?
says head of the inner harbor.
Mhm.
Cross out or remove with adaptation to the. and replace that with and.
And, yep.
I have a feeling that when the, I'm sorry.
And
When the bishops.
And we're removing
They
seawall.
were removing
Right.
seawall.
Time to codify the
And I
Bible.
think that's it.
Yeah.
You might be right.
You remove that space after 283 inside the parentheses.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Did you say I'm so anal?
No, I said I'm
Uh,
so anal.
My gosh, I'm wondering if we need a comma after tax map 120, so.
I was wondering that too, but yeah.
I think we do.
I think we'll leave that to Bill's judgment.
Right.
Totally.
I now understand the 2.5 years.
Don't you?
We're having fun yet.
Now, actually, the 2.5 years was easy.
Yeah, it was not.
Yeah, it's
It
only
was-
been this last.
It was
Last
the
month.
group
This is the 2
editing.
months.
Yeah,
2 months
and
of
then pretty painful.
literal.
So I have it on the computer. Let's see if this is what you want. Shall the town vote to authorize the select board and the town manager to fully remove the Montgomery Dam, whoops, gotta take out in spillway,
Right, yep.
with no space, only one space between that dam and the parenthetical. Tax map 120, lot 283, to return it to a free-flowing river system that generally aligns the cascade to its original underlying ledge channel, comma, facilitate fish passage, comma, and implement resilience and adaptation measures to manage floodwaters and sea level rise at the head of the inner harbor and harbor park in a manner generally consistent with scenario C of the findings and recommendations of Mercury.
Right. Can I make one suggestion there?
Nope,
Okay.
you're out.
All right,
We're all out.
well, in the second, in the second line, to return it, the only reference back to that is the dam. You're not returning the dam to a free flowing river. It should be to return the Megunticook River
I'll
to
just
a
take
free
out
flowing
it.
river.
I'll take out it.
Yeah.
To return to
Yeah.
a
That's
free
fine.
flowing.
Right.
river.
Yeah.
Good point.
Like that.
All right, if that sounds okay, go ahead and look at, if you would, what I added was the second
Mhm.
paragraph.
Yep.
The rest of it was the same. Down in the note, to pay for is new.
Right.
So the whole first part is the same. You haven't
Yeah,
changed.
I
that.
didn't change that.
Okay.
Hold on for a sec, Ray, if you would.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what we said.
A question, a legal question, Bill, okay, as far as this wording is there and everything, am I to understand that nothing can be done to remove the dam until the full funds are found, correct? Either through taxpayers stuff or grants. So it could be a couple of years, whatever, right?
There's no appropriation.
Right.
Everything starts with an appropriation.
Right, yep.
In this case, it's
Okay.
hopefully free money and then an appropriation. So I don't know how the dam
Yeah.
gets removed unless there's,
Right.
There's
I
money
suppose it
for
could
it.
happen that you put it in as a budget item next year, and even though the funding's not there, you've funded it, but there's gotta be an appropriation.
Okay, fine. That's all, yeah, just want to know that.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that, voters will want to know. Hey, if I vote yes or no on this, does that mean,
Not tomorrow.
okay,
Yeah. Remember Seth wanting to remove all the fish individually. Yeah.
still
For
probably-
free.
It's probably,
So,
probably.
yeah, what I could do is
that's-
just email it to you right now,
Okay,
and then you could distribute it,
sure.
Okay.
and we won't need.
I think this looks fine.
I'm gonna call this version 3 though.
This is version 3.
Yep, yep.
Understanding that we have more time and if we can sort out Courtney's concerns,
Mhm.
there may be a version 4, but if you can send that to me, then I'll send it to everybody else.
I think we did
Great.
some damage.
Yeah, we did.
Took us a while.
We're practiced at that.
And how much per hour does editing session cost?
I'll be taking up a contribution as soon as
Alright.
he leaves.
Okay,
Yeah, we do.
So.
All this work, we have it right.
Sure. Meanwhile, the group. Can be, if there's nothing else in landscape aesthetics. In Harbor Park. I don't think we talked about Harbor Park. Did we? That was the other section that got a number of revisions.
Before you get to that, can
Yeah.
I just get your,
It's D chap 414.
you popped up.
I do that.
Oh, you again.
All right, this is gonna say draft version
From
3.0.
Where, what?
You can put one of those
landscape is
little
like- Okay, got it.
pumpkins crying.
So it's like 3 back-to-back sections.
Okay,
Where are we going?
So is that all you need me for?
that is, thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much,
so
Bill.
much.
Yeah,
Thank
Thank
I
you.
enjoyed this.
Come on.
I've watched your committee, by the way, for a bit. and I think you guys did it.
Oh, thank
All right.
you.
And we haven't lost our sense of humor.
Our
Oh,
minds.
gee, yes.
Yes.
Sense of humor? No, we got it. Okay, to
We
that,
appreciate it.
we really do, Bill, thanks.
Yeah.
So guys,
Huge.
bother Deb to get it because she's
Okay.
got it now.
I will
Thank
send
you.
it. That's why I don't travel with my
Done.
computer.
And done.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, folks.
Have a great
you.
evening.
Okay,
So what are we looking at? Which one?
So I think the only one left in that last section before key findings was there were 2, community input and Harbor Park. When I went through them looking from clean copy to track copy, Harbor Park was the other one that had the most. And I starred for some reason, 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph down about the National Register of Historic Places. But you all are free to look at the entire one if you like.
I'm sorry, I was reading. What did you say, Deb?
We're looking at Harbor Park, which is on page 20.
I don't have page numbers.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Under
Harbor
Harbor
Park.
Park. All right, I'm on.
All right,
Yeah,
so
thank you.
4th, you can look at the whole thing,
Mhm.
but the one that had the most change was the 4th paragraph.
Starts since Harbor Park?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Did you write that, Susan?
Which one?
Paragraph 4.
The big one, the big paragraph?
No, it just, since Harbor Park is listed on the National Register, it's the
Ah.
4th paragraph in the
So
Harbor
that
Park
was
section.
sent by Jennifer.
Okay,
And that's
Oh.
why you're gonna see a little.
so we're not
footnote
gonna
at the
change
end.
it.
I mean, if the wording's confusing or something, but
So,
and
and
do we
it's an
wanna-
exact quote. What happened
Yeah.
was they went to a landscape architect who is an historic architect, and she made these comments and sent a letter to the library.
Okay.
And this is what was in her letter.
Okay.
So the phrase, the effect on the National Register as a complete thought is, that's fine, not like the if. Like the National Register is the thing that it's important to consider whether it's being affected.
Yes.
Yes.
Because,
Yeah.
yes, and it needs to comply with those guidelines or regulations.
Okay,
She wanted me to take out restrictions, and guidelines to me includes restrictions, so that's why we left that word. But there are a number of different things that will need to pass. I mean, the State Historic Council, the Town Historic Council.
There was a list of them.
Yeah, exactly. So all those things will need to be reviewed by.
okay.
Are resiliency funds attached to Federal Emergency Management Agency Recovery Act? That part of that sentence confuses me, including but not limited to grants, tax credits, Federal Emergency Management Agency?
And the reason is the library applied for funding for their seawall from FEMA. And that's why.
Right.
Yes,
but-
so look at the semicolon.
And if you look.
That's like, so that
It's a
whole
footnote,
sentence.
right.
FEMA
It's from-
Recovery
I see
Act
what you're-
resiliency funds. Okay, that's what I
It's
just,
the flow. Yeah, I get what you're
Right.
saying.
yeah, no, it just was like, there's grants, there's
Mhm.
tax credits and this
Yeah.
agency?
No,
Yeah,
No, it's
no,
just
I know,
reading.
yeah, no, the way you
Some
just explained
impressive
it.
Literally
punctuation.
same thought you did. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's, that's.
I-
Jennifer.
That's why I kept in the,
Yeah,
But
okay, that
this is
makes
an
the
exact
grammar.
quote from this landscape architect, who's an historic.
it's pretty exact.
Yeah,
which
Okay,
is why
yeah,
it's
I just
footnoted.
needed that
Exactly.
clarification, that's all.
exactly.
I mean, it's, yeah. I
Barb,
wasn't sure if I should
Barba, I
actually
think her
quote
name
it.
is Barba. or
It's
she's
Barba.
From
Nancy L
Nancy
H
Barba.
Barba.
Yeah.
RALEEDAP.
That's good. It's an exact quote. 'Cause we won't,
Exactly.
we don't need
We don't
change
have
it.
to.
So we don't have to.
No,
I was just trying to delete
Close.
everything between the 2 dashes.
Yeah,
Any
So-
park modifications
Okay.
using state or federal funding must be approved by the,
But
you don't have to say what they
Yeah.
are. No, just leave it. That's what she said, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine
Yeah.
with it.
Okay,
You can blame her for
How long it is.
punctuation.
and that's the last of the
Um,
small sections that we need to hit?
Yeah,
That is.
that last.
Right?
I'm-
We've
I'm-
done
I'm
everything.
just-
What, Ray?
Okay, just that last sentence in that part that begins, paragraph begins since Harbor Park, okay?
Mhm.
The challenge here is twofold, okay? One is preserve the features that convey significance, convey significance and ensure the parks continue countries in the National Historic Register. What is the second one, really?
While
Sure.
accommodating,
Hmm.
wow, that's what follows the while.
Really? All right,
I thought maybe it was
yeah,
preserve the
okay.
features that convey significance, and the second is ensure the parks continue
Should that be
Okay.
contribution.
accommodate, I mean, yeah,
I
accommodating?
think it could be easily cleared up by just inserting in
Oh,
Yeah,
parens
accommodating.
1
Yeah.
Yep.
and parens and then parens 2 where it belongs.
somebody,
Yeah, I could do that. Add a little 1 and 2.
Right, yeah.
One.
should accommodated be
Accommodating.
accommodating?
Yeah.
I did
Yes.
that at midnight last night, doing this.
Right.
How dare you?
All right,
I'm
okay.
understood.
You've done all this work and we will
Look,
judge you for not doing it well.
Right. Right. Deb, what is?
Okay.
I said you've done all
what's
this work
gonna
and
be
now we'll
our
judge you for not doing it
schedule
well.
going forward now?
That's the next thing on the agenda
Right.
What's the next thing on the agenda?
is, well, we're avoiding the appendix.
I think
Right.
the
Why is
appendix
that?
looks beautiful. Am I the only one who always thinks things look beautiful? I think it looks great.
Says what?
The appendix looks just
Do we have
amazing.
comments now?
Love it.
Well, it is now 11 minutes past 6.
Okay.
My question with the appendix is how is the order determined?
It don't matter. Just need to have stuff.
Pretty random.
Well, it does matter. I mean,
She's
typically,
never heard that expression before.
Well, it's alphabetical, right? Existing,
Really, I just
flood,
put,
key.
I just put the pretty pictures at the
Merc.
beginning, so I liked them.
Yep. I
That's
like
all I'm
the
just
flood
saying.
map.
because typically an appendix is in the same order that they showed up in the
In the
your
report.
document.
It's
Oh,
alphabetical.
I see, I see, I see.
All the headings are alphabetical.
Okay, okay.
No, I just found, I
I
just
just-
discovered that. I was looking for some rhyme or reason. That's it.
I mean, what I like about the appendix, the first thing are the difference in our.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not opposed to it.
You
I
bring it
I
up.
just didn't know. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell what the order, why it was.
Oh,
in
no.
order.
I think it goes from almost like these are the scenarios, boom, 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 that's the big picture. And then, what comes next after that? The flooding, which is very important. And then,
Key documents.
yeah, key document. I think it's in the proper order because I don't think people knowing when our meetings were is, I mean, it's great, it's there, but I don't think it's all of that.
No, I think it's in a fine order. I was only asking because
Oh, I did.
as a typical rule, when you're putting an appendix with the document, the
Lines
things
with
in the
document
appendix
needs
show
to
up
be
in the
fine.
same order as they showed up in.
No,
your
I
document.
understand, I
And so I was
But
just
there's,
sort of curious how they were determined what's more important than another, but
I
it was
looked at
not
it, I-
clear to me that it was in alphabetical order, so that's.
and I thought it was things that would interest people
Right.
more
Yes,
and
that's what I
less and less and less.
That's what I mean.
To use the terminology that we're all familiar with, it's free flowing.
Yeah.
It's nature like.
Nature like appendix.
It's a nature-like group.
It's not quite alphabetical, almost alphabetical.
It's close, but if you go by high interest to lower interest,
Yeah.
Right.
it
Okay.
works.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, as long as there was some rhyme or
I
reason.
love
to
That's it.
was
I love
having a
it.
hard time
That's it.
We could do
figuring it out.
appendix A,
fine.
appendix B,
Okay.
if
So-
that makes more sense.
It's fine. I just,
Okay.
when I looked at it, I didn't know how the order was determined.
Yeah,
And I
it's
feel
fine.
like it should at least have some way that it was determined. I'm fine knowing what it is now. I
Okay.
just.
Yeah, fine.
Do we need to add a glossary with definitions?
You-
Oh, Lord.
I thought of that and realized there wasn't really much that we needed to define.
No, I only came up with 4 or 5 definitions.
Yeah, and we do have a glossary on the website,
Okay,
so I think it's okay.
Okay.
to-
Okay,
Where most of
Google.
them came from.
Right.
Yeah, I can Google it.
Okay.
and
So-
you need something that shows the parts of a dam.
Yeah, that was another
Yeah, we had
thing.
talked
Way,
about that.
slipway and all
Yeah.
those things.
Slipway.
No, that's a restaurant.
That's a good idea.
And
Runway,
you
slipway,
want a picture
runway.
that shows what an
Right.
active shoreline might look like the ones I showed from Calgary. Because I think if people looked at it and go, oh, that's pretty, I like that.
Oh, wait,
If
is that-
someone's really
Hmm.
visual, they might.
I'm
it-
all
do
for
we
like
refer to it
1,000
in the
photos,
report?
but.
We talk about an adaptive shoreline.
Okay.
What an adaptive shoreline might look like.
Exactly.
I'd be happy with that. I wouldn't be happy with, like, we'd need to say, this is not a guarantee, it's gonna look like this, like, we haven't designed it.
No,
Yeah.
no.
just an
but it's
example.
An
That-
example.
Yeah,
That
but you
might
can
be a great
see in
addition,
scenario
actually.
C that that's an adaptive shoreline. That's not a, right?
But I
Yeah.
think the
Yes,
one
why not?
Susan's talking about,
Ones that I showed from Calgary that showed.
they made a
sort of
difference to me.
Step.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it showed grasses and.
And
I
it's a
just-
real picture.
It's,
Yeah.
it's something that has been done.
Yeah, as long as you made clear that this is an
Right.
example of.
Right, but I mean, we referred to it in our scenario,
And what was the other one? you suggested?
parts of a dam.
Parts of a dam, because there is that in the,
Yeah.
either in one of our newsletters or in,
Where?
I don't know if it's in the
Yeah.
I'll
report,
look
but
for
it's,
it. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in one of, it was in,
It's,
it's in one of the newsletters.
it's in one of the newsletters.
Well, maybe it would be a great idea for somebody to send exactly what they want in here to Courtney. I'm trying to be mindful of the fact that this has
Yeah.
been like hours and
No, no, I
hours and
understand.
hours of work.
Exactly.
And so it's great to say like, maybe we should do this and we should do that, but it's like
Right.
really just
Exactly.
not everybody doing it. So I'm just.
No, it's a good
Send you the
idea.
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah, send me
Yeah,
the
and I
photos
don't
again,
know-
because I know.
And if people, if
Honestly,
other
Yeah,
people
if
have
it could be something you
ideas
can just cut and paste.
send
it
it
right in there. That would be helpful, I think.
to
You don't have
Courtney,
to do
but
research.
I feel like people who want to know parts of a dam can Google that really easily.
Okay.
I think the adaptive
But our dam.
examples of adaptive
no, you know when it was? It
shoreline
was
is different, like.
That first FB presentation by the water staff people,
Really?
they had
Okay.
parts of a dam. But I don't know. I mean, remember, this has to be done by Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm saying if somebody has a great image of that, send it right to.
cost.
Yeah, that's the other, yeah,
That's stressing
with
me.
no cost
And
information
isn't that
coming in.
Audra dependent?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. Well, it's
Right, and it doesn't,
Mike's
it's not just like a plug and play. You can't just put the
Right.
table in and leave it, cause there's the whole, all the
Yeah.
writing around it has to
Oh,
change, so that's
God.
really pretty cumbersome.
Yeah.
I think we've taxed Courtney enough.
Yeah, I do.
We're almost done,
All right.
and I'm going on vacation.
So on that note, what are the,
Right.
there is so the select board meeting presentation is next Tuesday?
Yep.
On the 18th,
Yep.
and we need 2 people from this committee present. Not a handoff, because they'll have it in their package, but to do a summary. Not necessarily reading from the last thing, but basically, this is what we looked at. These were the main factors that were important to our decision, and this is the
Is there
decision.
any guidance from Audra on like, is this like a 3-minute
Yeah, hold on.
presentation?
It's
and
pretty,
this-
it's, no, it's pretty short.
Okay,
Whether it's 3 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever it takes you, or whoever's gonna do it, to explain what the important things were that we looked at. You don't have to go through the whole process, because they have the whole report.
right, I just didn't know if there was sort of a
No, she,
standard of the way
no,
it-
no, she just thought it would be helpful to have as many people from this committee who are in town attend that meeting,
Yeah, I
and
really
2
wish I was
people
able to.
do the presentation.
Fair enough, yeah.
You know what? I think considering that there's the cost thing still to do and adaptive shoreline, I'm just really, really mindful of how much work this is taking and us to do. Like, I don't think I think the adaptive shoreline pictures are actually a little bit of a departure from everything else that's in the appendix. Everything else in the appendix relates directly to what we've done.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit of a saying this could be rather than this is what is.
Well, it's another thing that could be pulled out in some of the small meetings. or
That's what
other
I think.
meetings
That's
that
what I
are
was gonna
happen.
say. Yeah.
Not everything of interest and helpful has to go into this
Exactly.
report.
I think this has to stick really closely to what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's
Agree.
what we should do. So
Yeah.
scratch that off the list.
Okay.
Who's in town next Tuesday to possibly go to this meeting?
You are,
Okay.
Susan is,
Okay.
Tyler is, Ray
Maybe
is,
coaching a hockey game. I'm looking.
okay, Courtney is,
Are you?
yes.
Okay. Well, you just hadn't, listed yourself.
I might not be.
You're gone, Courtney's gone.
No, I'm,
Courtney's here,
Oh,
Elfie's
she's
gone.
I'm leaving, 21st.
Yeah, Elfie and I are gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So-
That's better.
I was
I
fearful that a lot of us were gonna be gone.
I thought a
Okay.
lot of us were gonna be
No.
gone too.
But so it's, the people who are going to be here can fight about it, or you can nominate people. I mean, if there are people here who would be really comfortable doing a
Mhm.
presentation.
Well,
I mean,
No
it's
one's
only the
really-
select board. I mean,
Well,
they're
a
people.
lot of people will be there,
Yep.
but
Well, I'll tell you
I'm
what,
hesitating just because I'm so exhausted
I
right
know
now,
you are.
but maybe by then I'll have a little
all right, so
energy.
I just
here's
need
my
to-
suggestion. Anyone
Not
who is
feeling great.
interested, send me an email the next couple, 3 days,
Let me think about
Okay,
because we have until
Okay.
next Tuesday.
okay. Now, Friday is Valentine's Day, so what is our plan? Are we meeting on Friday and at what time?
Why would we meet on Friday?
Okay, I thought you said something we had to do on Friday.
No, things are due on Friday.
Okay, fine.
We're not due,
Okay, all right, okay,
I
fine.
thought you were
All right.
fishing for
as
balance.
far as I know.
D-U-E and not D-O. Okay.
No, we won't do.
And I
The
could use a
report
carpet
is due.
Okay. fine. All right.
We won't.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I'm here, I'll go. I
Okay.
just,
Yeah.
I was hoping that I wouldn't be here, but it hasn't actually materialized as a plan to go somewhere yet.
But
so
it might.
I don't know. It's getting information like that. The decision makers.
I get it.
Fair enough.
I get it.
Yeah.
I only have one decision maker, so it's, actually, it's not always them.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have to wait for somebody.
Depends on which version of myself.
When you have to make it yourself.
That note, should we adjourn?
Yeah, we gotta
Yeah.
adjourn.
Yeah.
Did I ruin it last time by turning it off wrong?
I don't think so.
No.
You know how to turn off.
No,
The
we just forgot
directions
to-
are right there. Rick.
Forgot to press.
Oh.
detail.
No, it wasn't you. It was Audra who forgot last week.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so-
turn off Zoom, is that the thing?
Well, it's written down. There's a white piece of paper.
Is Chris still our liaison?
He is, but and I thought I explained this a while ago, that he thought a few meetings ago that it would be better if he wasn't,
First shut the mics off.
but he was still interested, still following.
Okay.
Streaming on the YouTube screen.
Yeah, no, and and that was wild.
Just start.
Yes.
There's a button that says go live.
Yes, it was pushed.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was.
She said,
beginning
recording.
Yeah, she said she was recording. Don't scare me, Rick.
Go live, like.
Stop streaming the YouTube.
And we need to get rid of the picture on the screen.
So.
Stop. I didn't stop with Zoom, that's.
Thank you, Red.